Hey, we've got lots of stuff going on right now. Barry Morphew preliminary hearing, we have to go over this because absolutely shocking revelations revealed during that hearing. I'm going to go over all of it now. I'm just going to go in real quick because I have to change one thing, otherwise this is one sec. And this is not angry typing, this is quick typing. Typing with purpose. So, hold on. Just want to get this. In here and just change our tags because for some reason YouTube was not putting the right tags in. Alright, there we go. Hope everybody's okay. Let's see. Jimmy fell asleep on the couch. I think he's used to going to bed early in the hospital or something. Oh my goodness. Hair's all wet. I'm sorry. Had a good swim today though. Alright. Let's see. Okay. So, there's shocking revelations. I guess you probably heard that there's a 2-year affair that Suzanne had, which might be really shocking to you, you know? It was to me. Okay. Now I am ready. Done. Okay. And let me go back to getting the live chat so I can make sure that you hear me, because with my luck, I'm sitting here yakking to you guys and you can't hear me. Okay, so let's see. Kathy, Wendy, Easily Distracted, GB, Vicky, Ruby Ann, Sandy, Warwick, Samara S, Stacy, Marissa Cart, Mary Beth, Michelle Knighton, we got Alma, Lisa D. Who's that? Oh, Lisa O. You scared me. I thought you were Lisa D. I'm like, no way. No way it's Lisa D here. She's sleeping. Terry, it was crazy. Yeah, let's go through that craziness. Hi, Janine. Hi, Sandra. Kay, Jamie Fogarty, Regina, Alma, Diane LS. Let's see. Can't wait for my opinion. Yeah, well, we're going to go through this all together. Hi, Alyssa. And Ruby Ann, I got you right. And LMW. Who else we have? Linda Uribe, Nona May. Okay, and Nurse of All Trades. Sorry, so let me pull up everything so we can go through this. Now, you remember these were not televised. They were shot out to the fairgrounds. And an interesting thing before we start was that I was watching some newscast, and they had a co-worker, someone that worked with Barry Morphew, who was there with his wife at the fairgrounds watching it. And he just said there's going to be a lot of shocking stuff coming out tomorrow. And he also said that he wishes they had followed up on a lead that he gave them. But then he said, I don't know, maybe they have. So I don't know if you've seen that little ditty. But about him, yeah. And the fairgrounds didn't look packed. It's because they showed the husband and wife sitting, and it looked like there was a lot of room around them. So, and I'll just let you know I haven't been in my emails or anything today. So I see the emails are like flying in there. I can see a bunch of names. I haven't been in them because I have been out and about, and then I took a really nice swim. Well, I swept first, took a really nice swim, and this is the time sitting down at the computer. So I'll have to look at emails probably tomorrow. So I'm sorry if you sent me something, but let's get to this, okay? So, all right, so here's what we've got so far. Close that. So the first, hold on a minute, the first witness was from the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, and it was Commander Alexander Walker. Okay, and let's go over first, though, that Barry had his defense attorneys and his 2 daughters were there, along with his mother. And Suzanne's friends from Salida were there, and of course the prosecuting attorneys, all 3 there. Barry's 2 defense attorneys were there. And the first witness, Alexander Walker, and the, Linda Stanley, questioned Alexander Walker, and he said that Suzanne was first reported missing on May 10th of 2020 at 5:38 p.m. And he said that when he tried to reach Barry, he couldn't reach Barry. He reached one of their daughters, Suzanne and Barry's daughters, and the daughter said, I didn't get a response to the Mother's Day text I sent my mother. Okay, and they finally, one of the other deputies, Deputy Brown, he said, first was able to get in touch with Barry at 7:10 that evening, okay? On that day, authorities discovered Suzanne's bike at County Road 225 and Highway 50. Now, the bike was found on the south side of 225. There was no damage to the bicycle. According to Alexander Walker on the stand, right? He's testifying. And no skid marks or blood on the road. Body camera video from that discovery was played in court, and the deputies can be heard yelling for Suzanne's name as they walk through this rough terrain at dusk. Her bike was laying sideways on a very steep hill. You just got up. And they found it. That's where they found it, surrounded by thick aspen and fir trees, and there was no visible trail anywhere near around the bike. So how'd the bike get there, right? When authorities went to the Morphew home that day, a gentleman by the name of Miles Harvey, and Miles is a boyfriend of one of the daughters, okay? He was walking out of the garage, and he told the deputies that the Morphew daughters were not at the home, and that he had searched for Suzanne there, but he came up empty. He also said that she, Suzanne, had never gone up that trail where her bike was found because it was a crazy climb with a large elevation gain. And then in another body camera video, they show a deputy asking Miles Harvey if Suzanne and Barry had problems, and he said, well, they had some in the past, but called it normal husband and wife type stuff. Another body cam video showed that the deputies were speaking with Barry, who is described as and shown as emotional, and describes how Suzanne bikes every day. He said that he left for work at 5 a.m. when she was still sleeping, and he was heard asking deputies if they'd seen any cats in the area, possibly referring to mountain lions. And you hear the deputy say, not recently. So Alexander Walker says the last activity that was on Suzanne's phone was 4:23 a.m. on May 10th of 2020. Her phone pinged from a cell tower in Poncha Springs, which is 10 miles east of Maysville. The prosecution then shows a selfie that Suzanne took sometime before the morning that she disappeared. In the photo, she was wearing her turquoise helmet, which was found less than a mile from her bike after her disappearance, and the helmet had normal wear and tear, but no damage, like from a crash or something, right? Walker said he talked with Barry the next day, May 11th, and Barry said the couple had just had a great day and evening on May 9th. He called Suzanne his angel. He said they were 17 years old and said they love each other to death. He called the relationship very good. They had been together for 32 years. Since they were 17 years old, they've been together. Yeah. And said they love each other to death. Called their relationship very good. Those are his words. And they had been together for 32 years. Now, the cross-examination was done by Drew Nielsen. That's Barry's defense attorney, one of them. And during this, Walker confirmed that the arrest affidavit for Barry is 129 pages long, and it took weeks to put it together. He said that they started writing the document on May 11th of 2020. Nielsen said that Barry left for work on May 10th when his wife was still asleep. He later texted her to wish her a happy birthday. And when he didn't get a response, that's what he didn't get a response to. And Nielsen said this was not unusual because the cell phone service at their house was very poor. So maybe she didn't get the message saying, and I've had that too, that happens here. Sometimes it's failed to send, but that's what they're suggesting there. Barry became a little more concerned when his daughters said they also hadn't heard from their mother. Okay. And then Barry told authorities, there's not a more special, wonderful person in the world. He said they didn't have spats about him working too much, and he wanted her off of a certain medication she was taking, but it wasn't like they didn't make up. He said they did, I am very sorry. He said they did have spats. She thought he worked too much, and he wanted her off a certain medication that she was taking. But it wasn't like they didn't make up. Barry didn't protest when his house became a crime scene. Well, okay. And his truck was picked up. He mentioned to deputies that Suzanne had been cleaning because the daughter's friends were visiting, and Suzanne had changed the bed sheets for the friend. Nielsen asked if Suzanne's blood was found anywhere in the home, including the bedroom with the changed sheets. Walker said no. Nielsen asked if it was found at any time in the investigation, and Walker said no. They never found her blood. Nielsen said there was no evidence found to suggest Barry had returned to the house after he left that morning on May 10th, with the exception of going back in with officers to point out Suzanne's clothing. For 10 days, he wasn't allowed back in as investigators searched the home. Walker said the investigation was the largest coordinated law enforcement effort he has been a part of. Thousands and thousands of hours of work put in, and it involved about 70 law enforcement officers. In July of 2020, the CBI, Colorado Bureau of Investigation detectives, began to work in and around the Morphew home. This time when they did their searching, it was extensive with numerous items seized and hundreds of photos taken. Blood was found on a tampon, okay, but nowhere else in the home. And Nielsen said with all this work, they had drones, they had canines, they had aircraft, they had scuba divers, they had ground-penetrating radar, and much more. The body or remains of Suzanne have never been found. Walker confirmed that Suzanne got a spy pen because she suspected Barry was cheating. And he said that they had no evidence that Barry was cheating. But when asked, he confirmed that Suzanne had been having a 2-year affair with a man named Jeff Libler. And investigators found this out because the spy pen that she bought to allegedly find out if Barry was having an affair recorded a conversation between Jeff Libler and her. Authorities didn't learn about this affair until November of 2020, 6 months after Suzanne went missing. And there were hundreds of hours of phone calls, WhatsApp messages, and other communication. The two met up to at least 6 times in New Orleans, Michigan, Texas, and Indiana, and she didn't tell anyone about him. Libler did not voluntarily come forward to help find Suzanne. Law enforcement first spoke with him on November 13th of 2020. It is not yet clear what they discussed in that conversation. They had a quick 30-minute recess, and the cross-examination continued of Alexander Walker. Nielsen read a section of Barry's arrest affidavit on the prosecution's theory, which included data from Barry's Ford 350 truck. The affidavit reads as read by Nielsen from 2:47 p.m. May 9th until 5:37 a.m. May 10th. He took steps to dispose of evidence of Suzanne's disappearance and death. There was some talk about the accuracy of this data in the courtroom, and they then moved on to some DVR cords that were missing from the home surveillance system, which was not operating on May 9th. Barry said he never touched the system. When the cords were found and DNA tested, Barry and his two daughters were excluded, and there was strong support for the inclusion of Suzanne. Nielsen also brought up DNA found in Suzanne's Range Rover, which was a male profile but did not match Barry's. It came back with a partial profiling matching 3 men who were involved in a sexual assault. According to the combined DNA index system, no other details were provided on these 3 men. That's strange, right? In a brief redirect, the DA, Stanley this time, asked Walker if Barry ever called 911 to report his wife missing to authorities or helped in any law enforcement-led searches, and Walker answered no to each question. He also asked Walker if he had ever questioned Barry during the May 11th interview about where he kept his guns. Walker said Barry told him that they were in a safe, but Walker found a gun in a closet and a shotgun against the wall in the home. At the end of his testimony, Stanley asked Walker to confirm Barry claimed he left his home for Broomfield at 5 a.m. on May 10th, and Walker said this was true. Stanley also confirmed through him that the data in Barry's truck showed door activity at 3:26 a.m. The defense was denied a recross. So there's, just in that stuff alone, like a lot going on, right? Because there's no indication Barry's having an affair, which I think maybe a lot of people thought was a motive or something to do this. She having this 2-year affair, which I don't think anybody was thinking. The door activity of his at 3:26 a.m. when he supposedly left for work at 5:30 a.m. that morning. The cords for the surveillance system, no DNA of himself and his daughters. But it's looking like Suzanne's is on there from what I'm reading. And the spy pen that she bought to catch him actually ended up catching her. And then the DNA of these 3 other men in her Range Rover, no blood anywhere except on the, where it should be, on the feminine product. But then the house being clean, the sheets being changed. There's a lot of different things already that we've gone through, right? Let's see. Let's go on. Second witness was Kenneth Harris. And he is one of the 2 FBI special agents on the case and specializes in behavioral analysis. So he was questioned this time by the district attorney, Jeff Lindsay. And he revealed, Kenneth Harris, in some conversations, he said in some conversations picked up on Suzanne's spy pen, you could hear her and Barry arguing about money. She was heard accusing him of telling her what she can do and what she can wear. Okay, so we can see he's controlling in that aspect. We see that. Well, we can hear it if we ever, when we do hear these. Another recording picked up about a 5-hour conversation with Jeff Libler, the man that Suzanne was having the affair with. It was at this point that investigators realized that there was an affair involved. The prosecution then brought up screenshots of texts between Suzanne and her friend of 30 years, Sheila Oliver. In these texts, Suzanne said her cancer had returned in May of 2018, and her health was declining. She worried her marriage was only worsening it. And her friend Sheila responded, saying the toll of the couple's fights were concerning. Sheila also said while Barry might have called May 9th a perfect night, she knew the couple hadn't had a perfect night in a year and a half. There was another recess for lunch. After lunch, Special Agent Harris and DA Lindsay restarted the questioning. Now, Harris said Barry would bring up their 2 daughters when he and Suzanne were arguing, and then blame Suzanne. She lost respect for him when he did this, Harris said, and one of their daughters who saw the fighting even said that a divorce would solve their problems. Okay. He said at one point, Barry put a gun to Suzanne's head and asked, "Is this what you want?" He also pinned her to the bed before, and she said she'd call the police. Suzanne wanted to leave the marriage in 2019 and 2020, but also wanted to wait until their youngest daughter was out of the house. Meanwhile, Barry was worried about how others perceived their marriage and wanted to come out looking good. Text messages between, again, Sheila Oliver, Suzanne's friend, and Suzanne show that Suzanne was confiding in her friend about the failing marriage. At one point, she said she hoped Barry would find someone else and leave. Let's see. As Kenneth Harris continued to describe Suzanne's conversations with her daughters about these topics, the young women held each other in court, one sobbing. During this is when they were holding each other in court while this is happening, one sobbing, okay? By February of 2020, Suzanne and Sheila are talking almost every day about the subject of leaving Barry is a frequent topic. Now, Ken Harris said Suzanne was racked with guilt and wanted forgiveness from God. In text, she said she wondered what the young me was thinking. Her relationship with her daughters was the center of her world, Harris said. Harris then explained how it is that Suzanne came to know this Jeff Libler. The two had gone to high school in Indiana, and they hooked up during the summer of 1989 at a house party. Barry was not at the party. 20 years later, they hooked up again, Harris said. The relationship started platonic. They were talking about books and movies and Suzanne's cancer, but by February of 2019, the two met in New Orleans, and they fooled around in a hotel. And Harris said they did not have sex. They met a few other times in 2019 as well. They started communicating via WhatsApp and LinkedIn, and that's when Barry became suspicious. After Suzanne's disappearance, and once authorities tracked down Jeff Libler to talk, he said Suzanne's marriage was not good. The couple argued a lot, he said, and she repeatedly said she wanted to leave. However, she also said she couldn't divorce Barry for biblical reasons. Let's see. Hey, Ethan, can you let the dog in, please? Don't scratch the screen, Bubby. Upon discovering that she may have been abducted, Jeff Libler deleted his accounts because he said it negatively affected Suzanne's daughters. I think, yeah, that could be one of the reasons, but I tend to think, okay. Defense attorney Iris Eiten led her cross-examination, okay, of Special Agent Harris, and she started by noting that Agent Harris was doing a lot of interpretation of the text between Suzanne and Sheila. And Harris said the interpretation is from what Sheila said they meant. So Iris said Suzanne seemed to keep lots of secrets, noting that the affair was not a short-term fling. Iris said it lasted 2 years. Harris corrected the statement, saying it was actually a year and a half. The first witness said the affair spanned 2 years, so it's not clear who's correct. Suzanne did not tell her sister or best friends about Jeff Libler, Iris said. Barry claimed not to know about the affair when investigators told him. That's according to the Agent Harris. He said he thought that she might have been having an emotional affair, but not a physical one. After a brief afternoon break, they started up again with the cross-examination of Agent Harris, and Iris said that Sheila got a spy pen, which looks like an everyday black pen, and she gave it to Suzanne when they were both in Florida. Now, officials found multiple audio files on this pen, which activates when it hears a voice. 11 files were deleted, 2 of which were recovered, and 11 were saved. Some of the messages between Suzanne and Jeff were shown in court, such as, "Your heart, that's what I crave. I love how you love me. I love how you think, and you're the sweetest thing I've ever known." Now, there was a technical issue at that time, and it said that the media sources covering that lost some stuff. So there's stuff that they're trying to fill in, okay? But the two traveled around the country twice in 2019, Iris said. They met up again in February of 2020. They were calling each other the loves of their lives, said the attorney Iris, Aiden. They talked about moving to Ecuador, where Suzanne could teach language. On May 8th of 2020, Jeff messaged Suzanne saying, "You need to be my wife," and complimented her biking gear. The following morning, May 9th, she texted him saying, "We need to be husband and wife." Jeff said the affair made him nervous and he didn't want to lose his job or his family. He said he didn't want Suzanne's legacy to be that she had an affair with that guy. And just before 5 p.m., they ended for the day, and tomorrow at 9 a.m., it'll resume again. So, quite a different thing than a lot of people probably were expecting. I think it's pretty shocking. And then according to this co-worker of Barry's, there's going to be more shocking stuff tomorrow. So, I don't know. What do you guys... Let me go to the chat and see what you guys think about this stuff. And it's almost like... Isn't it... It feels very much now to be like a movie. The way this twisted and turned, I think, apart from what a lot of people thought. And I'm not saying that it doesn't mean... But I think a lot of notions probably a lot of people had are out the window. But let me see what you're saying. Hold on. Okay, let's see. There's a mosquito in here or something is driving me crazy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get to people's comments, and they're jumping. Juanita Richards says, "My mother had affairs, but we didn't blame her, and we wanted her to leave her unhappy marriage, but she stayed and sacrificed her life." Dawn Carter said, "Thankful that I can come to your channel and get caught up on the latest news and current cases. Thanks for your hard work." You're welcome. Welcome, Dawn Carter. Alma says that's beautiful that the cycle doesn't continue. Gone Girl, maybe she's in Ecuador. Let's see. The movie Unfaithful with Diane Lane and Richard Gere, Juanita says. He must have found out she was having a serious affair, Marissa Cart said. So much can be misheard and reported that it makes it more confusing. Thanks, Judge. Yeah, it is. I don't know why they can't televise, like why. I don't get it. Hey, Jimmy, please. I'm live. I'm live. Okay. You could say, "Excuse me." He can't even hear me. You should say, "Excuse me." He can't even hear me. I thought he put gun to his own head, but maybe it could be Alley Cattails. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's one, we have to rely on these media sources. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. We have to rely on these media sources, and it could be. It does seem like that would be more apt, but it could just, yeah, it could be a typo in the media source. They only have 4 days to demonstrate sufficient murder evidence to go to trial, and they spent the first day on a soap opera-style affair, Uncle Jed says. Strange. Well, I don't think it was time wasted at all today. You're thinking it was time wasted, Uncle Jed? Jimmy, what I said is you could say, excuse me. That's what I said, and you just didn't even hear me.
I hear you. I know. I was like,
okay, well, because I'm live. Everybody hears.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's living with guys. Alma, when you're right, you're right. Vicky says, I have worked with many battered women. Barry is the typical sociopathic narcissist that won't tolerate disrespect. Yeah, well, we did see... What's the matter? We did see that he is controlling about what she was wearing, and what was the other thing? That it was what she was wearing and where she was going. I don't even know. But in the other sense, she's out there biking and stuff on her own. So I don't know. But then you got that 3:24 truck door opening. So what is up with that if he left at 5:30 a.m.? My mother never let me forget. Okay. Teresa, I had my own little space, and then everybody wanted me in the kitchen. Don't ask. They didn't like it when I was up there. They didn't like it. I said, they want you in the kitchen. That's what makes this extra annoying. Yeah, Ellie. Probably just a fantasy, but she said she wanted to go to Ecuador with her boyfriend. Yeah, but it doesn't, I mean, yeah, it could have been a fantasy of theirs, right? And then wouldn't it be crazy if she really was in Ecuador? That's why he's thrown in the hospital. Okay, let's see here. We only have one chance. It's kind of predictable. The defense tries to make it about character, but nothing excuses murder. Absolutely. But okay, let me ask this question. Do the revelations today make anyone here that was certain Barry did this, did anyone change their mind, or even a little bit change their mind? Just put a Y if you did and an N if you didn't. Well, that's a good question, Jennifer. When she said, was the Lieber guy married? He said he didn't want to lose do something to his family. That to me seems like he was, right? We can see what we can find out about him, but I don't know why. Every time I hear his name, it reminds me of who was the one that used to do the mommy show, and then oh my gosh, she was like a Today Show host for a long time, and now she does like assisted living commercials. She used to have a mothering show back in the 80s, and she used to show a a limousine taking her from Connecticut to New York City, getting up at 4:30. Why can't I think of her name? Joanne? It's not Joanne. Okay, let's see. Everyone is still saying no. Okay, so this changes nothing for any of you. Oh, yep, couple. Okay, I was going to say, how could everybody be Okay. So yes, he is married, Mary Rose. You know that from. Let me see if I can see anything about him. Hold on a minute. Yes, Joan London. Exactly. Thank you, Jackie Burns Creations. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know why Why am I connecting this name with her? Because that wasn't her husband. Wasn't Jeff? Was he? Jeff. I don't know. Why do I? The name just sounds like a TV producer or something. I don't know why. Jeff Liebler. Jeff Liebler. Sounds like a TV producer or something. It's a familiar sounding name. I don't know why I'm connecting that. Just like when I was reading it, I was connecting it with her. If I were the defense, I would be investigating the guy also. Exactly, Jennifer, right? And then he says he deleted everything for the kids, but they can get that all back, hopefully. And hello, the People's Team for Justice. Jeff is married with 6 kids. Wow, Alley Cattails. How old is he, Alley Cattails? Do you know his age? I wonder when did his wife find out about all this? And she's standing by his side with this? Oh my goodness. Sounds like the guy who ran Jeff Liebler. I don't know. I don't remember. No, that's not where I'm remembering it. He's like around 50? Okay. Well, he would have to be her age if they graduated together, right? Let me see. I think he works for an automotive company as a. I'm just looking at that really quickly. This can't be him. No, this can't be him. Alley Cattails, do you know where he was working? He wasn't working as a regional director for automotive products, was he? Somehow that doesn't look like it. His phone pinged in Michigan on May 9th. Yeah. Okay. But that's not always foolproof. That could also, his phone could ping, but somebody could be doing that for you as an alibi. You know that, right? Two Scooter was here at the other one. I don't know where she is now. She's probably listening. Did the boyfriend and his wife have alibis? Well, we don't know for sure. Someone said his phone pinged, but that doesn't, a phone ping is not in and of itself mean you can't be somewhere else. Like you give Luke my phone and say, go over here and make a call at such and such a time. That doesn't mean I was holding that phone. Eli Lilly? Let me see. don't know why. I keep finding this automotive stuff. I'm not finding any. Did he scrub everything clean already? Probably did. I'm not finding that. Hold on a minute. I don't know. All right, I don't see, I mean, not seeing it. That's Jimmy walking around with they're not flip-flops, they're Crocs. But it's Jimmy. Barry's defense will try to say Suzanne's lover killed her to keep the affair quiet. Where did you see that? Can you send me a link for that, Deb, to my email or to the messenger in Facebook or something? I snow remover. Oh, she did? Okay, look, she's ahead of me. Did you send it to the email or did you send it on Facebook? Let me see. Okay, I got it. Let me see. So he's a senior account specialist at Eli Lilly. No picture. Okay. He is in a mountain biking group, though, so I guess maybe they connected over that, or maybe he did that to get closer to her. We don't know, right? Click on. Mountain biking, interesting. Let me just see something. And you know what's funny? Did you notice he dropped his last name? He's now just Jeff L. So he knew this is all coming up. Right? Interesting, and I'm sure they asked him on the stand where he worked, correct? Because they do that to everyone. Very interesting. Yeah, they went to high school together. Yep. And then they connected again. What was 1989, and then years and years later. me see something. I just want to see something. Well, let's see. Looks like he's 51, right? No, 52. If this is the Michigan, yeah. Hold on, I have to give this information to somebody. Okay. Let me see here. Go back over here. Okay. Tammy McD saying Alex Marie in 1997. Yes, that was where I just see the entire thing. What's the 19? What are we talking about, Alex? Jimmy's home. Yes, Jimmy's home. I think he got her interested in you think it's he that got her interested? What makes you think that? The daughter found a text of theirs when she ordered pizza on his cell phone. Jeff's daughter did? So what did you say the wife is standing by him? Jeff was a longtime friend she confided in, yep. And it developed into more than he was aware of. Into more as he was aware of Suzanne's wanting out of the abusive situation, yes. They only found out about him, yes, in November, correct, Jennifer, yep. So Barry used mountain biking as an alibi. As they said, he's why she got into mountain biking. Okay. Yeah, I got it. And IPA beers. What are we talking about, Sandra K? I don't even want to know. Okay. I have said hi to people. Hi, Ruby Ann. I see you. Hi. Hi, Ruby Ann. Yeah, thinking of Mimi. Let's see. Just trying to see here where... Barry is the one on trial. I believe this is just a distraction because they're going to have a hard time arguing the facts of murder. Well, how is he going to explain that door opening at 6 a.m. or something? How does he explain that? Did he try to explain that yet? That's something. And I mean, why would she be changing? Was she changing the sheets in her bedroom and cleaning for her daughter's friends? Like, did she expect them to go into her bed? I'm not saying she can't change her sheets, but you know what I mean? Oh, the Lauren chef said a daughter of Jeff's found out. I see. The DNA in her vehicle. Yeah, what about the DNA in her vehicle? Do you think, what is that about? Is that just maybe people that detailed the vehicle? Did she bring her car to a certain car wash? Did she that day? Was it planted there? What's going on with that? Happy birthday, Deborah Vancouver. I thought her daughter's bed. Okay, well, that's what I would think, Kathy, but I'm just trying to make sure here. Yes, happy birthday, Deborah Vancouver. Barry might say he heard a noise outside. Yeah, he probably will say he heard something and went to get a flashlight or something in his truck. Hello, Robin Lane. Good to see you. Let's see now. That's what I mean. They're going to have a hard time with the murder facts. It's why they're bringing up the affair of Gone Girl to ruin her character. Well, but what is the prosecution? What are they bringing up? Not that much, except that she didn't respond to a text, but they don't have any blood. They don't have her blood anywhere. They don't have a body anywhere. They don't have, do they have surveillance camera footage? No, because it wasn't hooked up, right? The cords were out of it. Yeah, Barry wasn't having an affair. But, of course, defense attorneys, just remember that thing. They muddy the water so you can't see the shiny silver dollar, right? The puddle is clear. You could see the silver dollar. The defense attorney takes his umbrella and stirs it around and says, what silver dollar? That's what defense attorneys do. That's what they're paid to do. Hi, Shari Duvall. Agent Harris mentioned that Sheila told him in 2018 Barry allegedly pushed Suzanne into a closet and put a gun to her head. Yeah, yes. We talked about that. But you know, as well as I do, Christine, the defense can spin that too and say, look, he didn't kill her, okay? And couples can get in physical and maybe they weren't in the best relationship, but that doesn't make him a murderer. That's what a defense attorney can do, right? Yeah. They can. I'm just wondering, what do they really have? They have the door opening at 3 a.m. We'll have to see what tomorrow brings, but Barry may have had affairs, but that's never been found out. Correct, Juanita, yeah. Do they have anything? That's what I'm trying to find out, Jennifer. Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to find out what they've got there. Exactly. Sandra Kay says it makes you wonder what law enforcement has that they think that they can bring these charges. See, Christine, there's discrepancy because in the media reports I read, it says that he held the gun to her head. Now, Alley Cattails was saying in other ones it says it held it to his head. So which one is it? What did... does anybody know which one was really said? This is what I mean. This is like a game of telephone where we can't watch it for ourselves. Scotty, the boyfriend, is in, I believe he's in Michigan. TBS, yes, on the job. TBS, yes. What does that mean? TBI. TBI. You don't mean TBI. You mean CBI? What do you mean by TBI? That would be the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. You mean CBI, right? They haven't brought out their big guns. Yeah, I hope there are some. That's what I'm thinking, Alley Cattails. Maybe tomorrow, maybe that's what that guy meant. I don't know. They have to have something more than this. Maybe they wanted to let this come out first, and then, they figured that's where the defense would go, and then come tomorrow with something. Hurricane Hunter says Scotty T's not looking for Suzanne. That's where Jeff is. This case is so twisted, says Nurse of All Trades. Co-workers have evidence. Yeah, you saw the guy? Yeah, he said, I wish they would have followed up on the lead. I don't know, maybe they had. Is that what you're talking about? But I think if it was his evidence that he would be being called as a witness. And it didn't look like he was, according to the news report. You're in San Antonio now, but there have been more ambulances every day. What are we talking about? You're on something else. Yeah, one chakra at a time. So, but I mean, as of just what we know today, there's a lot of revelations there, right? Could that be, like, did Suzanne's daughters know about it? Is that why there seemed to be a little bit of a rift where Suzanne's family was saying the daughters weren't speaking to them? I mean, I don't even know why, if they were upset with the mother, they wouldn't speak to her family. That doesn't, but is that why they feel very devoted to the dead? I don't know. I have no idea. Or they just, I don't know. Kind of crazy stuff. I didn't expect this. You would have expected that he had the affair and he had the other life and stuff. But, nobody's saying he's not controlling or demanding. We know he is because we heard him in the, well, we didn't hear him, but they did. In the spy pen, and we still don't know if it was his head or hers that he held the gun to. Oh, sorry that we're keeping you from your cooking. Let me see. So, I mean, they've got that. Prosecution has to have something. He threatened to kill himself when they fought. Stood with a gun and said, is this what you want me to do? Now, Catherine, may I ask how you, it's because Barry is controlling, is their narrative, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm thinking there's a lot more to come to Robin Lane. There has to be. There has to be. Maybe they have some big witnesses tomorrow. I just hate that we can't see it for ourselves. And we have to go through these media reports. And I don't know about you, but these media sites, they have terrible proofreaders, horrible ones. There's always constant misinformation, misspellings, people's names are wrong. Oh my gosh, because they try to get the stuff out so fast, they do not proof it. Let me see if I can find anything about a correction of whose head that the gun was held to. Okay, now here's the thing. Let's see. If you look at the Denver channel, they say hold on. they say he said at one point, Barry put a gun to Suzanne's head and asked, "Is this what you want?" He had also pinned her to the bed before. She said she'd call the police. Now, if you go to KDVR and look at their transcript of this, and that's with Lauren, okay? They say, trying to get to where that part is. Trying to see where she even has this part. Court proceedings were not live streamed, however, limited media was able to attend, okay? First witness, right? Alex Walker, la 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 la. According to Harris, investigators never found Suzanne's phone or the charger she leaves plugged in next to the bed. Detectives had to use what was backed up on the iCloud as well as records from the phone company to retrieve key data. I'm not even seeing in this one where she's saying anything, but it looks like from what I saw in the Google preview that it says put a gun to his head and asked if this is what she wanted. Now, on another, I don't know what this one is. This is even, what is this? Yeah, this is not a good source. This is one of those independent like websites that wants to be like a news source. It's not real. It's just a blog. Okay, and then Denver CBS is what? So what is going up with this? On with this. And put a gun to his own. That's the blog that says that. And the Daily Mail says how he'd once held a gun to his own head, but that's the Daily Mail again. But how come the Denver channel is saying something different? I don't know. So weird. But it does sound like it's probably his head. Suzanne's phone, last pinged. Yes, yep, we got that, Tina. 4:23 on May 10th. Yep. On Lauren's Twitter feed. Okay, what'd she do? She makes it clear he held the gun to his own head. Okay, great. Perfect. That's what I needed. Perfect. Thank you, Robin. So then, wow, okay. If I killed every man who ever cheated on me, bye, fellas. All right, yeah, we got it. Yes, I trust that. So his own head. So I mean, wonder what they'll have tomorrow. It's very weird, isn't it? Just a total twist like crazy, but who knows what will happen tomorrow. I don't think they would have brought the case forward if they didn't have more evidence, right? Why would she want him to hold a gun to her head? Marissa, I don't think so. I don't think she would. We're just reading that. But that's another thing that works like in the defense's favor there. He was going to kill himself, not her. Yeah, we went over everything that was down there, that was written, that was reported on. I don't understand why we were not allowed to see this. Like, what was the deal? Why did they make that decision? What was that based on? That they won't televise it. Share photos. Okay, let me see. You sent me something else in Messenger? These are public photos. You can share them. They come from classmates and public posts. No one owns the rights to these photos. Okay, so this apparently is a public classmates photo of Jeff, I guess in high school. And this is Jeff today. Oops. Interesting. Interesting. But is his wife standing by him? Yes, no. Her helmet was found. Now wait, now this is crazy. You're saying her helmet was 8 miles away. That's not what I just read. They had her helmet was less than a mile away. Where are you reading that, Deborah? Let's go through Lauren Traff, because if you're getting that from there, then the Denver channel has just totally gotten everything wrong. Okay, let's go here. Here is Lauren's version, okay? This is so crazy. This is like a game of telephone. So it's a 4-day preliminary hearing. She says Morphew is accused. Okay, we know that. She's got a couple of pictures here. Okay, let's see. Barry Morphew's mother, okay, that's right, and daughters are in the courtroom. Barry's been seated, is wearing a suit and tie. 6 attorneys have been seated for the state. Preliminary hearing is intended to protect defendants from unsupported criminal charges. The judge will decide whether there's enough probable cause for the case to move forward. First witness to take the stand, right, is Commander Alex Walker with the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office. Linda Stanley was the prosecuting attorney that was questioning him on the stand, and said that, asked him what he remembered about the circumstances of Suzanne's disappearance. And he told the court that Mallory Morphew, one of the couple's daughters, reached out to a neighbor when her mother didn't respond to her text on Mother's Day. The girls apparently left on a road trip earlier and had not returned home. Suzanne reportedly left her home over the weekend for a bike ride. On Monday, the court saw a body camera taken by the Chaffee County deputies where Suzanne's bicycle was discovered, and Deputy Brown found the bicycle shortly after getting notified of Suzanne being missing. He immediately put on his body camera when he got to Highway 50 and County Road 225, and he noted that there was no blood, no skid marks, no brake marks, and no signs of a struggle, and no damage to the bicycle. And during this time, as we heard before, Mallory and Marcy Morphew held hands and cried in the courtroom as they watched this video play out. Now, Walker went on to say a lot of agencies have come together to find this lady. A lot of resources have been expended, and we're not going to stop. Over 70 law enforcement officers, so many analysts, scientists. Walker added, it's the largest coordinated effort he has ever been involved in. Okay, that's the same. Morphew's attorney spoke to those searches, saying that despite aircraft involvement, drones, grid searches, canines, mine checks, ground-penetrating radar, water teams, and the efforts of hundreds of people, Suzanne or her remains were never found. Okay, and then a man named Jeff Liebler was Suzanne's lover. In November is when law enforcement found out about the affair, and they met up to 6 times, twice in Indiana. Jeff Liebler and Suzanne went to high school together in Alexandria, Indiana. As the investigation into Suzanne's disappearance progressed, Liebler asked law enforcement if he was considered a suspect in the case. He said he claimed his phone had been destroyed shortly after Suzanne went missing, and he deleted secret accounts on WhatsApp. And now his phone was destroyed. Okay, I didn't get that from the other one. They didn't leave us that one. So his phone was destroyed shortly after Suzanne went missing, and he was asking officers if he was considered a suspect. Okay, and then his WhatsApp secret accounts were deleted. And for his explanation, Liebler claimed he didn't want Suzanne's legacy tarnished by the affair. The couple's relationship was revealed by the discovery of a spy pen, which Suzanne asked her best friend Sheila Oliver to help her obtain. The device was discovered in a search of Suzanne's closet. Investigators said several audio files had been deleted from the pen. 2 of those files were successfully recovered. Both of those involved Liebler. FBI agent Kenneth Harris then testified that he believed Suzanne had deleted those audio files herself, and he said that Barry told him he didn't have any knowledge of his wife's affair. I cannot live my life without you in it, Suzanne said to Liebler. Liebler allegedly left a message to Suzanne saying, baby, you are a sweetheart. This boy craves you. Everything about you. Morphew's defense team says it plans to play audio of Jeff from an interview with investigators. Investigators say they never found Suzanne's phone on the charger she kept by her bedside. Instead, they used what she had backed up on iCloud as well as records from her carrier. Agent Harris, back on the stand, an interview with Jeff Liebler on December 18th of 2020, and 3 pages of conversations from the LinkedIn account, talking again about the spy pens. Suzanne did not write about their affair in any journal, but she reached out to Jeff on Facebook, and afterwards she used an app called Voxer to communicate. Later, the two switched to talking to each other on the phone. Libler's daughter did find out about his conversations with Suzanne and told her older brothers and uncle. The two took a break in their relationship for a while, but began speaking again around Christmas time of 2019. Libler told special investigators that Suzanne had told him that Barry had seen some of their messages and that they needed to switch back to using communication apps. Iris Aitan spoke, that's the defense attorney from the report. She was worried. What if Barry looks up records? He had no idea that we had talked to each other. On November 26th of 2018, there were 7 calls between Suzanne and Jeff that totaled 4 hours. The next day, she texted Sheila saying that she had a tough talk with Barry, but she didn't mention the new relationship with Jeff. The two spoke 26 times between January 4th and January 11th of 2019. Suzanne met up with Jeff in February of 2019 in New Orleans, in April of 2019 in Indiana, in July of 2019 in Michigan, October of 2019 in Dallas, and February of 2020 in Florida. Jeff was planning a trip to Colorado in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit. Now, I bet you the defense is going to use that to say, yeah, he may have said he didn't like what she was wearing or whatever, but how controlling is he if she's able to get away on all these getaways? They're going to say that. You got to be... That's what they do. The two were planning a future marriage, calling each other soulmates. Jeff didn't believe that Barry knew about him. If he knew about me, he would have come after me. I just don't think he knew that Suzanne and I were together. Now see, in here, it says all of this is complete from her, but I don't even see her mention they don't even mention the gun here. Let me just go directly to her Twitter and not to their news page here. Jeff had told Suzanne allegedly that Ecuador is a cheap place to live with good health care. So on December 9th of 2019, Suzanne's iCloud account discovered that she was researching language schools in Ecuador. There's a text message from Suzanne to Sheila. I'd live in a shack right now. I'm sure he won't make it easy. He has always wanted control. And then we have Suzanne met with Jeff in February of 2019 in New Orleans. April of 2019 in Indiana. Hold on one second. Let me see what's going on there. Thank you very much. Who's that? Let me just see who that is because I have to click on that. Billy Boy Blue. Hiya again, Mommy. Just wanted to say, hey, real quick, love you and all you do. Thank you, Billy Boy Blue. Thank you very much. And you just reminded me of something that I didn't do. Hold on. We'll go right back to that. I forgot to do something. And I always forget to do it because I just can't put it on. I really wish this was televised. Come on. Here we go. Okay, back. And then they planned the trip to Colorado in March of 2020, but then the pandemic, right? Harris said that Suzanne and Jeff calling each other soulmates and were talking like lovers. Iris asked if they had sent nude pictures to one another, and Harris said yes. She had told Jeff that they needed to be husband and wife, and Libler said, "Marry me." According to Harris, it was Libler that got Suzanne into mountain biking. Aha. As well as drinking IPA. They talked like lovers together. Okay, so it was him that got her into mountain biking. Okay. We got the 4 hours of calls. According to Iris, Libler and Suzanne spoke 26 times between January 4th through the 11th of 2019. Harris is looking at the phone records to confirm. He said it was 19, but he might just need readers. He didn't have the 11th day of data. Okay. Okay, we heard that. Suzanne had planned a trip to New Orleans in February and asked if Jeff would like to meet her there. Investigators found some journals, but not all journals. According to Harris, and Suzanne didn't write about the affair in any journal. One of Libler's daughters found out about him speaking with Suzanne, told her older brothers and uncles. Suzanne and Libler paused their relationship for a while, but then got back in communication in Christmas of 2019. She had used her dad's phone, well, I guess when the daughter, she had used her dad's phone to order pizza and found the messages from Suzanne. He must have had a secret app open or something, right? Suzanne had created a LinkedIn account in August of 2018 and logged into the account frequently until she went missing, so they were communicating through LinkedIn. Harris said Libler's phone was pinging off Michigan towers on May 10th. Again, that in and of itself is proof that his phone was pinging off those towers. Just the same way, you've got to look at it, that Kelsey Barrett's phone, right, was pinging on the way Crystal was taking it back, but it didn't mean Crystal was there, right? And they wanted you to think that. That's just a phone ping. That's showing you where the phone is. You've got to connect that person with that phone to be absolutely sure. That can be a very easy alibi for somebody, just like how many people said, you know, that alibis, people will leave their phone on in their house and it'll show that they're having a conversation and really they're not there. So, you know, that's a phone. That's not like some bombshell stuff. Suzanne's secret spy pen led investigators to Suzanne's secret affair. And then, let's see. I don't have the phone anymore. It was a company phone, has been replaced, technical problems. Can't really hear the recording, it says. Oh, let's see. Maybe we are in the clear for Valentine's Day. Barry won't be around then. Suzanne was heard on the recording on the spy pen. Cannot live my life without you in it, Suzanne said to Libler. Libler allegedly left a message to Suzanne saying, "Baby, you are a sweetheart. This boy craves you, everything about you. And you are the sweetest thing I've ever known," Suzanne said to Libler, was heard on the recording. An interview with Jeff on December 18th of 2020 with investigators and 3 pages of conversations from the LinkedIn account talking again about the spy pen. Suzanne told Sheila that he would be concerned with Barry's reaction if Sheila sent the spy pen to her house. So she said, "Just wait until the Florida trip to give it to you." Suzanne didn't tell Sheila that she used it, according to Harris. Suzanne told Sheila that she wanted a spy pen in January. She wanted to catch some conversations and put in Barry's truck. Agent Harris said that Holly Wilson, a friend of Suzanne's, would record conversations with Barry. Investigators played audio of Suzanne and Jeff from the spy pen to try to see if they knew who this man was. They had heard the conversation but didn't know the depth of the relationship. Harris said Barry told investigators that he didn't know about an extramarital affair. Sheila wanted to help out with any investigation, as well as Holly. She kept a lot of secrets. Her sister also said that Suzanne is very good keeping secrets, Iris Itan, defense attorney, said. Harris replied, I don't recall. This affair was not a one-night stand. It was 2 years long, and in other states, Itan said, Harris said it was from September 18th to May 9th, a year and a half. Sheila Oliver was a college roommate of Suzanne's, that they were the best of friends. However, she did not know about Jeff. She never mentioned this male friend to anyone. It's hard for them to believe Suzanne would ever have an affair. Harris said that Barry would tell Suzanne, don't worry, one day you'll find your Fred. The agent explained that Fred is her stepfather, Suzanne's mother's second husband. Okay, let's let that sink in. Harris said that Barry would tell Suzanne, don't worry, one day you'll find your Fred. The agent explained that Fred is her stepfather, Suzanne's mom's second husband. So, again, defense is going to use that, right? Why would he say that? Because, I'm just saying again, if you're thinking, yes, you can hear maybe he's controlling about the way she looks, but if he tells her, don't worry, one day you'll find your Fred, most controlling guys would say something like, you ever cheat on me, I'll kill you both. You're not getting out of this, like something like that. But don't worry, you'll find your Fred. Kind of means like, don't worry, you'll find your Fred and you can go have your second marriage. The defense is going to use that too. Saying that just because maybe he didn't want her wearing short skirts or something because she's a reflection on him didn't mean he is as controlling as that he's going to kill her if she decides to leave him. That's what I think. Let's see. Week of May 5th to the 10th is where Suzanne and Barry were alone. Suzanne dropped Macy off in Gunnison and with her sister Mallory for their road trip. According to Harris, Suzanne wanted to be married to Jeff Libler. Libler got rid of his LinkedIn account. He learned about Suzanne's disappearance, but he didn't get rid of his LinkedIn account. It's still there. It just doesn't have his last name. He learned about Suzanne's disappearance on May 12th when someone sent him a link. Suzanne had told Jeff that she couldn't get a divorce because of biblical reasons. She also told Jeff that she would ride mountain bikes in the afternoon. He also looked up trails that she should try. Jeff Libler and Suzanne had reconnected after Suzanne reached out via a message and said, "Howdy, stranger." Then they spoke mostly on the phone. That was September of 2018. They became physical in February of 2019 in New Orleans. Agent Harris said they didn't have sex, but they fooled around in the hotel. They visited each other a total of 7 times in 6 different locations. One was in Florida when Suzanne was visiting her father in 2019. It's Jekyll and Hyde again. He and Mal were together last night, probably switching it on when he talks with her. Ugh, I feel I'm crazy. I just had a conversation with him, pretty much told him I can't be healthy and stay in this. Okay, text message from Suzanne. It's Jekyll and Hyde again. He and Mal were together last night. Probably switching it on when he talks with her. Ugh, I feel like I'm crazy. I just had a conversation with him. Pretty much told him I can't be healthy and stay in this. He threw the 70 times 7 at me. The scripture reference how many times they should forgive someone else. Always using scripture when it's convenient. This is another text to Sheila from Suzanne. Text, I feel bad. I don't want to cause him to have to do this. There's just become a point that the reality of what never been there is sovereign, and I've accepted what is. He can't change the core person, you know? Makes me wonder what the young me was thinking. Text message from Suzanne. I feel bad. I don't want to cause him to have to do this. To have to do what? There's just become a point that the reality of what's never been there is sovereign. And I've accepted what is. He can't change the core person, you know. Makes me wonder what the young me was thinking. According to Harris, when Suzanne told Sheila that she wanted to leave Barry, he would respond by saying, how would you pay for things like your medical bills for cancer? Again, he's not saying, yeah, you want to leave me? I'll kill you first. I'm just saying. Harris says that Sheila and Suzanne spoke almost every day. I'm trying to type. Okay, she's done. Okay. Agent Harris mentioned that Sheila told him in 2018 Barry allegedly pushed Suzanne into a closet and put a gun to his head and asked if this is what she wanted. And let me just go to this one because there's a bunch of replies to this. Text messages reveal that Suzanne wanted to wait until Macy was out on her own, out of the house to separate. There were text messages from September of 2019. What? You're going to bed? Are you really going to bed, or are you just fake going to bed?
I'm not fake going to bed.
Yeah? Are you? You're going to all right, good night, I love you. There were text messages from September of 2019. Suzanne was texting Sheila about divorce and didn't think Barry would take the high road. Suzanne had communicated with Sheila that she was done with their marriage. It was just about when Sheila asked Suzanne how she would support herself. She had texted Sheila, I just wish he would get fed up with me and let me get out of the marriage. The defense attorney is wondering what time these text messages were sent. Text message from Suzanne, I'd live in a shack right now. I'm sure you won't make it easy. He has always wanted control. There's another one. She didn't say he'll kill me if he finds out. I'm just saying. And then they said, can someone specify who the gun was pointed at? Ashley reports it was pointed at her, and Lauren reports that it was pointed at him. She said, I corrected my tweet as I was typing fairly quickly. Investigators say he pointed the gun at his head and asked Suzanne if that's what she wanted. Okay, and then wait a minute, let me go back to her other stuff here. Let me see if there's any clarification on this one here that it says, this one that says it's from Suzanne, it's Jekyll and Hyde again. He and Mal were together last night, probably switching it on when he talks with her. Let me go to expand that, see what the things are. She said, nobody say anything. So maybe Barry got a hold of her phone that night and flipped. If he walks and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Hoping the girls are open. They were being used. Mal is the daughter. Let me get this. I'm going to see. I'm going to try to expand the one where I just don't want him to do this. I feel bad. I don't want to cause him to have to do this. What's that about? So she finally saw that Barry never. Okay. Okay, now Agent Harris is speaking about Suzanne's best friend, Sheila Oliver. She lives in Indiana, and they have been friends for 30 years. They asked Sheila what the state of the Morphew's marriage was like. Sheila was contacted by Mallory a few days after Suzanne went missing. When the investigator heard from Barry that the night before she went missing, they had a perfect night. Sheila told investigators that Suzanne and Barry hadn't had a perfect night in over a year and a half. Another recording 5 hours long of Suzanne speaking with Jeff, a trip to Michigan on a business trip. This was important because the FBI needed to find out who the Jeff guy was. He lives in Michigan. FBI agent Harris is now being asked about the spy pen. A recording is of Barry Morphew driving, and the truck radio is heard speaking on news clips, forensic files like criminal cases. This is February or March of 2020, a recording of someone gone missing while bike riding. Interesting. One recording that starts in the truck, Suzanne was arguing with Barry about money. Suzanne is also angry about what she can and cannot wear. Okay. Lots of couples fight about money. I'm just saying. The can and cannot wear. There are couples that argue over that too. Doesn't mean like I mean there are couples like that. Does that really when it comes down to it? Yes, controlling, but then the defense is going to show those other texts, and usually a controlling person will say, "If I can't have you, no one will." Stuff like that. Just saying. I want to see what expanded about Jeff here. Let me just expand this one. And somebody's already saying now they need to look into Jeff's wife. If they have money, she could have hired a hitman. Okay, so let's go back here. Second witness, Kenneth Harrow. Okay. Judge denied recross for Nielsen. She was visibly upset. Walker is being cross-examined by D.A. Stanley. She is asking about Morphew's guns. He had a safe in the garage, and not all of the guns were inside, like Barry said. A gun was found in the closet near the garage door, a shotgun up against the wall in the garage. Speaking of Suzanne's Range Rover, DNA was found on the glove box and sent for testing. DNA was from an unknown man. It was not Barry Morphew's DNA. Was it Jeff's? Was it whose? Was it? Hit was made on DNA with someone with 3 sexual assaults. That again was, I believe, misstated in the Denver article, because I believe it said with 3 individuals with sexual assaults. Okay, a hit was made on the DNA with someone with 3 sexual assaults. But Nielsen did not elaborate on who that individual was or why she brought it up in court. Interesting. Speaking about the surveillance cameras on the Morphew property, they were installed by the previous owners. The defense is referring to page 97, and they're speaking about missing cords that law enforcement found. Nielsen said Barry never touched the cables that are missing from the cameras equipment. Law enforcement took swabs of the cords. There's DNA from Barry, Mallory, and Macy. They were all excluded. She is now showing Walker discovery of DNA report of DDR cables. The defense is showing that it was likely Suzanne who touched the cables. Now they're talking about a blue cable to see if Suzanne's DNA was on that. What about the power cable? DNA as a mixture of the two, likely Suzanne and an unknown male individual. The defense team has provided the state packets of their exhibits, which are 624 pages. The defense is going over the log of activity in Barry Morphew's truck. Example, when the doors opened and closed on May 10th, from 2:47 a.m. to 5:30 a.m., Barry Morphew took steps in disposing of evidence according to activity on cell phones and truck. And Nielsen is referring to page 2 on the arrest affidavit. According to page 41 on the arrest affidavit, Walker wrote, Barry Morphew's Bobcat doesn't appear to be connected to Suzanne's disappearance. Back on the record, Andrew Walker is still on the stand. Now speaking about Barry Morphew's truck, he said the truck was messy, both in the cab and in the bed. There was a search warrant on May 12th of 2020. Pictures of the garage were being shown of the Morphew's home. 2 dogs and dog handlers from the El Paso County were used to search the house and the vehicles. Barry Morphew's sister just came up to me in the hallway and said, "Are you Lauren?" And she said, "You are an instrumental part in destroying our family." She then walked away. Now, Lauren tweets that she knows that Jeff Libler went to high school with Suzanne in Alexandria, Indiana. A man named Jeff Libler was Suzanne's lover. In November is when law enforcement found out about the affair. They met up to 6 times, twice in Indiana. Suzanne didn't tell anybody about the affair. Libler did not come forward to law enforcement. Once law enforcement found him, he spoke to them. Libler asked law enforcement if he was a target in the investigation. A recording of an interview with Libler and law enforcement is about to be heard. The defense attorney wants a lot of time with Walker. Judge is worried about timing. Spy pen belonged to Suzanne Morphew. Sheila and her spoke about getting her the spy pen. Suzanne had suspected Barry was having an affair. Walker said Barry wasn't found to be having an affair. Suzanne was having an affair for 2 years. According to Walker, Barry didn't know about the spy pen and that it's voice activated. July 8, 2020, investigators asked to speak with Barry at his home and said they could bring pizza. Barry responded, "Don't bring food. We are grilling steaks. We can put 2 on for you." Let's see. Nielsen said on July 9th, 28 law enforcement officers were involved in a second search of the home, including 14 FBI officers, 7 CBI agents, and approximately 6 Chaffee County deputies and you. On July 10th, 18 law enforcement officers came back to the home, including 10 FBI agents. Fair to say the search of the Morphew residence was lengthy, thorough, and extensive. Yes. More than 110 search warrants were issued. The first search warrant was on May 11th, 2020, of the Morphew home, including the vehicles. The house was under investigation for 10 days the first time. On May 20th, the home was given back to the Morphews. Barry didn't get a chance to change clothes or get anything from the home. The helmet was found 10 meters, not miles, 10 meters down from Highway 50. This is what we went here to check. Okay. And let me just do something really quickly. Yeah. So it's not. So who? I think it was Deborah. Yeah. It's 10 meters. So that might have been a typo too. Maybe they put 10 miles in one report, but it's 10 meters. So it's way less than a mile. Okay. The helmet was found 10 meters down from Highway 50. Volunteers from the sheriff's office searched both sides of Highway 50 from County Route 225 to Monarch Mountain Lodge with line searches on May 15th. A video of Google Maps made by the defense team is shown of where the helmet was found. The state says they haven't seen this and wish to see it in private before showing it to the courtroom, but the judge says we don't have time. Mallory's bed sheets were stripped in the Morphew house. So they were stripped. Nielsen said Barry Morphew would mention that Suzanne would clean the house before guests would arrive. So her sheets were stripped. Not that they're... Okay. Barry mentioned to investigators he had never been involved in one. He hopes it does not stop in regards to searching for Suzanne. Walker said it does not stop. Mallory's friend Holly went on the road trip with the 2 daughters the weekend of Mother's Day. They typically stay the night in the same bed at the Morphew's house. No blood of Suzanne's was found in the Morphew home. Investigators did not find any blood throughout the investigation, according to Walker. Let's see if there's anything else there. Now see, now look at this. This is crazy, right? In the beginning, she says, a picture of Suzanne wearing a light blue helmet and matching jacket with a camelback and sunglasses is shown. She is on Methodist Mountain. The bike helmet was found 8.4 miles from the bike on May 15th. Well, what's the correct information? Right below that, she says the helmet was not damaged. It was found south on Highway 50, 10 meters. Okay, 10 meters from the road. So, all right. So this is so confusing. So then the other channel has it wrong. And it's 10 meters from the road, but 8.4 miles from the bike. We need a whiteboard. This is going to be such a mishmash. Do you even understand how this is going to get so convoluted? Body cam video of Barry. I apologize, Deborah Vancouverton. Body cam video of Barry getting to the scene at 8:45 p.m. He gets out of his truck and he asks, "Where was the bike?" He then asks, "Was there a crash?" Deputies asked what path Suzanne would take, asked if she was an avid mountain biker. The deputy describes how the bike was found, and Barry responded, "It may have flipped." The deputy asked people not to touch the bike with their hands. Oh yeah, what about the DNA on the bike? Did they not discuss that? Maybe tomorrow. Walker said Barry and George Davis had been touching the bike. He also confirmed that Suzanne's bike helmet was found a few days later. Suzanne's phone last pinged 4:23 a.m. on May 10, 2020 on the Poncho Springs tour. Miles Harvey was coming out of the garage when the deputies arrived at the Morphew's home. Miles explains he is one of the daughter's boyfriends and he notices that Suzanne's car was home, but her bike was gone. He told deputies that Suzanne typically brings her car with her when she goes mountain biking. Miles and his father described places where Suzanne goes biking as well as what she typically wears. The deputy asked Miles what Barry and Suzanne's relationship was like, and he said they've had some problems in the past. They've talked about separating. I've known this through Marcy. The bike is navy with light blue pedals. Something is up with the front tire, the deputy said. The deputy brought the tire back up to the county road without gloves. The deputy starts yelling for Suzanne in the video as they approach the bike. The bike's front wheel is facing down the side of the hill. The deputy asks for Barry to be called to describe the bike. The deputy asks for someone to contact the hospital. The deputy then moves the bike off the hillside, lays the bike back down. Deputies are chatting on the video about how close the bike is to the house. They are also talking about scenarios about what might have happened. Suzanne and Barry's daughters are holding hands and crying in the courtroom at this time. Deputy Brown found the bicycle shortly after getting notified of Suzanne's disappearance. He immediately put on his body cam when he got to Highway 50 and County Road 25. He noted no blood, no skid marks, no brake marks, no struggle, no damage to the bicycle. Barry Morphew's attorney wanted to make an opening statement. The judge said no. That's okay. So let me go back to the thank you for, let me see who, somebody must have sent super chats. Let me see if it says this. Okay, thank you, Tammy. What does it say here? It says, okay, guys, I really got to go. I got to get up in the morning and take Ethan to the mall to do school shopping. Pray for me because I hate them all. Well, good luck at them all. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the other super chat. Love you guys. Keep Mimi in prayer. Carolyn, Jimmy, and boys, love you. Ramblers, you are so awesome. Thank you, Tammy. And yes, prayers for Mimi. Hope she's on the mend. Okay. Now let me I'm going to look at your chat now. Carolyn, use the link. See Messenger. Oh, okay. I think did I get most of them now? Okay, let's see here. It says, okay, apparently Jeff's wife took down her Facebook. So, let's see, what does this say? Here's a link here. Okay. I think we hopefully got all of that out now. Let's see what everybody's doing now. Okay. The Twitter link. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Most of us who are real talkative online are the shyest in real life. Jeff's wife, person of interest. Are you saying, I don't know, what is that? Let'll catch? What do you mean? Are you asking, is she a person of interest, or are you saying she is? She will see it now. What am I saying now? You want to talk about, what do you want to talk about, Alyssa? Are you going to talk about what happened today? What is going on? Alyssa sent an email. About this case? Because I right now, I just want to talk about this case right now. Do you want to talk about this case? Oh, you can. Why is it asking me to join? Is that wrong then? What, Lou UK? Oh, you can. Why is it asking? What? I haven't seen you in a while, Lou UK. What is asking you to join? What's going on? I'm a member but don't know why it's not showing. Can anyone help? First day off and want to come to say hi but can't work. Is that your only account? Do you have another YouTube account? Can you manage your memberships and your thing, and it should show you where your members to? Oh, about her husband. Okay. Alyssa, I want to finish this up first, and then because I really want to keep this on the subject, I just want to just do that, and then we can break into another one for casual conversation, all right? Yes, this is my only account. I go to manage your memberships, and it'll tell you what's current. Maybe it ran out. It could have run out, Lou. How long ago did you join? It could be. It renews every month, and if you don't renew it, then you won't be a member, but you can renew it. Says I'm a member. How does it say you're a member? Because it doesn't say you're a member on my end. That's what I'm saying. This is subscriber mode, not member mode. I like this, I feel like. Oh, thank you, Valerie. She said she is a member, but no. But if it's asking her, just click the join button and see what it says. Because Linda Uribe is a member, but it never shows her as a member. And somebody said that's because they think that there's an option to have no icon or something, like you don't want anyone to know. Like, I don't understand, but yeah, there is an option like that. So could you have checked that? What's the matter with Mimi? What do you mean, should Mimi go to the hospital? What's going on with Mimi? What happened to Mimi? Her eyes? Does anyone want to come on and talk about the Morphew case? Because I want to keep it to the Morphew case right now. There you go. Welcome to becoming a Deputy Rambler of the UK. Mimi had a lupus flare-up. She's got 5-day bed rest. Her heart rate is down to 50. And her blood pressure is up. Is that normal for the lupus flare-up? I mean, is it something that is normal for that, or is she, if she's concerned, definitely she needs to go in, but I think she's probably knows what's going on, right? I mean, it sucks, but and definitely prayers for her, yeah. Hey, Buttercups, thank you for upgrading to a detective. You want to tell here, or what do you want to do? You want to call in and tell us? Nana says lupus can cause all types of flares. Yeah, Nana has lupus. What do you think about that, Nana? What do you think about that? Yeah, what's her full blood pressure? Kathy from Texas. The heart rate is not normal. What about the heart rate, Nana Patty? Hold on a second. Okay. Um, okay, so we're going to take some calls about Barry Morphew. I'm going to put, I got someone coming on panel that wants to talk about Barry, and I'm going to throw the number into Slack. Boy, I swallowed wrong. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I think Barry Morphew is going to get off with this information. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's coming out tomorrow or the next couple of there's 4 days, right? So 3 more days. But I mean, they could just be holding something. But right now, it seems like, well, why would they, you know, I think they're going to
Yeah.
count on that truck thing and her phone ping.
And they really didn't have anything great to begin with. I mean, it was really circumstantial. Most all of it was circumstantial, like, and they painted it as, well, he was this abusive husband and he made all these threats to her and yada, yada, yada. But when you read these messages, like you said, he's not really saying, or I will kill you. You can't really, I mean, how did she get out 6 times to go meet with some guy?
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly, I mean, that part, because I've known people that are in really controlling relationships where they will say, if I can't have you, nobody will, I'll kill you both.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not, I don't think we expected to hear the text messages like that. So, but I think they're looking to say that his phone shows he was up at 2:50 something, and then his truck door opened, and then her phone pinged, and well, what could he have been doing? And then you never heard from her phone again after that point. So what was he doing?
Well, the thing that I don't understand, I mean, if they went into the house and they took control of it and he wasn't even able to change of clothes, nobody could clean up something that good in that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
One day after. I mean, they have nothing. They have no blood from her, from my understanding, anywhere. It's like she just vanished.
Yeah. It's kind of
And
scary.
now that you have this third player involved, this guy who ducked tail and ran when he heard that she was missing. I mean, what a great guy,
Right.
They didn't even know about him until November. They should have been knowing about him by 11 o'clock on the day that she was missing. He should have came forward and said, yeah, instead he deleted all of his stuff and my phone was broken. And I'm like, okay. And then he's asking if he's a suspect.
But you know what else is interesting? If you think about it, is, okay, let's say Barry's under all this scrutiny, right? Okay, and then from May, before they find out about this in November, if he truly did know about this guy, wouldn't he have said, why don't you check her boyfriend?
He didn't know. I don't think he
It looks like he didn't, because why wouldn't he have said, why don't you check out her boyfriend?
Yeah, so now they're probably going to go in and be like, well, she was having an affair. He, obviously this is why he killed her. But like you said, I don't think he knew. I think he was completely clueless. I think he's probably just as surprised as everybody else. oh my God, she really was having an affair.
And then you could say also that he could say he didn't want, because if he was really concerned about appearances, he wouldn't want anyone to know she was having an affair. And so he wouldn't say, like it's just, but it's all so circumstantial. It's just,
Just if somebody goes missing, I mean, because they knew, because it was on the news. So he knew that the guy who she was having an affair with, he knew she went missing.
Yeah, he knew on the 12th, he said. He said on the 12th, I think.
So he knew 2 days after that she went missing. He knows that he's having an affair with this woman. He was one of the last people who talked to her, like on the night saying, she was like, I want to be your wife or whatever, something like that. So they had these very intimate conversations. Mm-hmm. And he just ghosts everything and doesn't even say one word until they find him on a spy pen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just, that if I were a defense attorney, I'd be like, you're looking in the wrong place. You need to be up in Michigan looking, because I have a feeling he had something to do with it. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but all I'm saying is that this is going to be great for the defense. And it makes this Jeff Liebler or whatever, it really makes him look shady. Mm-hmm. It makes him look seriously shady.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like a guy who was in love with her. To me, it sounds like a guy who was playing her for what he could get out of her. It doesn't sound like he was in love. It sounds like she was in love. Right. Because if he was that much in love, he'd be heartbroken, and he would have came forward and said, this is what happened. She was the love of my life, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, if the daughter had already found the text, I mean, I guarantee his wife knew.
Yeah, and they had to like back their relationship up or whatever, or had to put it on hold because his daughter found out and his brother or something like that?
His daughter found out and told the uncle and her older brothers or something?
So what's the wife think? I mean, so what? The relationship went back on.
Okay, now see, the People's Team for Justice says Jeff is ruled out. He's 100% innocent.
But what's that?
People's Team for Justice said Jeff was ruled out. He's 100% innocent.
How could they rule him out when they didn't even know about him until November? That gives them 5 months to clean up any kind of shit he did.
Is it based on what? The phone ping People's Team for Justice? I don't know.
I think it creates a really big reasonable doubt for
I do too. It depends. Like, if they don't bring out some real bombshells tomorrow,
yeah,
I think they can convince some. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm not saying Barry didn't do it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that he is looking more innocent as all of this stuff about his wife, who we've all seen looking pure as sunshine. You know what I mean? In every picture.
I know. Yeah. I
think is having this illicit affair, and he doesn't know, and it's like, what?
Yeah, I just think his texts are like some of the stuff that he did, holding the gun to his own head, telling her that don't worry, you'll find your own Fred.
It just doesn't. I mean, I think I told you I had a best friend murder. She was a victim of domestic violence. Her husband shot her and himself. Yeah. And there were signs, and I mean, there were telltale signs. And his message, Barry's messages do not sound like telltale signs. And I think it's kind of, the other thing that's kind of strange, Barry doesn't seem to know anything about mountain biking whatsoever. So he doesn't even seem to know, he knows his wife was getting into it, but he doesn't know anything about it. The person who does know about mountain biking is her lover. He's the, one who knows all about that, which is kind of odd too. She disappears in a mountain biking accident, supposedly, of which her husband knows nothing about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this guy's like a member of a mountain biking team, and he's some bigwig with Eli Lilly, which is like, that's big money pharmaceuticals is what that is.
Yeah, just, and they're traveling all the time, all over the place as pharmaceutical people.
Right. And how was she getting away? I mean,
Well,
if I just told my husband, "Hey, I'm going to go to, I don't know, so and so for the heck of it," he'd be like, "Oh, who are you going with?" Or I mean, I wouldn't.
right. I mean, there's some guys, that's what I'm saying. Like, I had a brother-in-law that was like, when they're saying about what you're going to wear and what you're not going to wear, he had a lot to say about what my sister would wear. Okay, but that doesn't mean he's a murderer.
Right.
You know what I
And he
mean?
obviously,
So,
and he obviously gave her some really free reign with where she went because a teaching job would not send you to all those places. I mean, it's not like she had
right.
a job like.
But they
authority,
said the
that,
one time she said she was visiting the father when she went to pick up the spy pen
oh,
in Florida. But I don't know. I mean, just based on that, I'm just trying. I'm not saying like you that he's innocent. And believe me, I did have no. I was totally convinced of. But this has played out a totally different way this first day.
I was shocked. I was like, no way. This church going looks like the perfect mother, innocent looking woman was having an illicit affair for almost 2 years. Are you kidding me? I mean, and he obviously did not know. And nobody knew.
Nobody knew. Yeah. So that's kind of strange because I don't know. There's some strangeness here. Not gonna lie.
Well, and that's too, yeah, you look at the husband, but then when you see somebody who's been able to keep this kind of a secret for almost 2 years, and you have to sit there and wonder what other secrets was she keeping, you know?
Why don't you call in? Why don't you call in, Deb, and tell me about this? Because I feel like Reddit convinced me of this because that this is not anything to worry about. Because to me, I think they can really easily, if there's nothing big that comes out next, that this could be some real reasonable doubt.
I didn't think they had that much on him to begin with, but because we didn't really know what they had on him when they arrested him. They just said, oh, they had a bunch of stuff, but they didn't really go into detail. And now the first day we're hearing that she had an illicit affair, which is strange.
Mm-hmm. And I still don't understand that tweet where it said, "I don't want him to do this to himself" or something. She didn't say. She never said, he'll kill me, or she said she couldn't get a divorce for biblical reasons, not because he'll kill her.
Well, and that makes sense as to why she was trying to catch him in an affair, because then she would have biblical reasons. Because according to her religion, the only reason that you can get an affair is if somebody commits adultery on you.
Right.
I mean, so if she could find out that he was committing adultery, then that would set her free from marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, she felt stuck in it. I guess an affair is different than divorcing. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, it's, and I feel bad for her kids because it sounds like he was using the children to try and guilt her into the marriage type thing. Sounds like maybe she wanted out and Barry was using the kids heavily to sway her as to stay with him.
But, okay, I'm going to talk again in general terms. There's a lot of people that happens to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't even mean that one person's going to kill the other one, but they will say, what? Well, we have kids. You can't leave. We got to work this out for the kids. That kind of thing is there all the time. Now, she's saying that he was using the 7 times 70 times in the Bible that you forgive someone. So, but it didn't elaborate on what the forgiveness was. Is it because he left the toilet seat up? Is it because he works too much? Right. Is it because he couldn't go to a certain thing because he was working? We don't know what it was because it doesn't tell us.
Yeah, right. It doesn't elaborate. And then, when you look at motive and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, from his standpoint, he's wanting the marriage to work. He doesn't want her to leave. He wants to stay in the marriage, yada, yada. He's even, using the kids to help him with that. So his motive for killing her, if he doesn't know about this affair, would be what? And then on the same instance, you have this other guy who obviously doesn't want anybody to know that they're having an affair. He wants it all wiped under the table. He has a wife and 6 kids. What would be his motive? His motive would be stronger than Barry's motive at that point, I would think, to see her silenced. That's just my opinion, because I'm just saying, he's got a lot more reasons than Barry to keep her quiet.
But the daughter already knew, and then the
Yeah, but
wife
the
already
wife-
knew, so it's not to keep her quiet because she'd already known. Unless she didn't, I don't know when the daughter found the text. Was it prior? It was prior to the break. So did the wife never know that they hooked up again?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm thinking, that she didn't know, and they laid low to make it seem like it was totally off. So they're totally not together, and he's sorry for this, and that's what it sounds like to me. Like it was to appease his wife and to let everything blow over. So if he didn't, she should have taken that as a clue of he's not going to leave his wife for me.
Well, that's
You know what I mean?
right. But see, Sue W says they think he's bringing the worst about Suzanne first. That's what I think it may be. And tomorrow we're going to hear something. I think that's.
Doesn't the defense get to go last? I thought that they got to go last for some reason.
Well, what Sue W is saying, they want this. They know this is going to come out. That this was going to come out because they know about it. So I think they planned on letting it come out, blah 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 blah, and then now they're going to go in and bring something big out. That's what I think. They've got to have something really big tying him to this.
But wouldn't it have to be like blood or some other kind of evidence? Because my understanding
Could it
is
be security camera, like how they had photo stulos disposing of stuff? I don't know.
I know, but just for them to not find anything of hers at all, no DNA of hers, no blood, no cleanup, no nothing, is so strange. Because even in the photo of Stulos, they found blood in her garage. You
Right.
could never clean it all up. It's still
Right.
going to be there.
Mm-hmm. And the paper towels being gone, and
Yeah.
the car parked, and the guy,
So
walking.
for Morphew to basically be able to get out of the house without any blood, and then be able to clean it up so well that they didn't find any. Because they went back. They did that for like 10 days, and they went back again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they ever found anything DNA-wise that they could use. I think most of the case is circumstantial.
And then her DNA not being on those cords and all of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Kathy
doesn't
says he
seem
killed
like-
her somewhere else.
He just doesn't seem like the criminal mastermind that would be able to.
I mean,
Clean everything.
he does seem arrogant and everything else. I mean, I never had a problem believing what he did, but that he could do this. But I'm just saying, with what's come out today, there's a lot that defense can work with to create reasonable doubt.
Just the whole thing in itself created reasonable doubt for me,
Mm-hmm.
big time, because I'm like, well, geez, this guy has a really good motive too, and he's got a lot of money. He could have hired somebody to get rid of her. The guy from Michigan, and kept his hands clean.
Yeah, and right. I don't know. It just kind of it's
I
so
mean-
strange that I didn't expect this to come out today. Like this stuff.
And then the text messages about she'd live in a shack with him in Ecuador because it has good health care and blah, blah, blah. He's never going to, he's going to give up his rich lifestyle and move to a shanty in Ecuador.
Right, but she also didn't say, I'm not going to be able to get out of this marriage. He'll kill me.
No.
It
She
was
never
more.
ever-
It seemed more in the text messages. She was worried about getting right with God.
Yeah, like she was guilty about it. Like if she divorced
Yeah.
him, she would be committing some sin.
Right.
I mean, he obviously didn't know. I don't think for one second he knew she was having an affair like that.
You think
would've been the
even if
one.
he was trying to save face about the affair, but that when they locked him up and stuff, that he would say, "Look at this guy."
Yeah,
But they knew it by then, okay. But even when they were, I don't know.
I wonder when he found out. Like, I mean, when his defense told him, he must have been behind bars at the time.
I don't know.
And then for the guy to say, "Am I a suspect?" You're in Michigan. Why would you think you're a suspect in something that happened in Colorado?
Yeah.
That's weird too.
Boyfriend must have a strong alibi. Well, hopefully more than the phone ping.
Yeah, yeah. I just think what came out today just really threw a wrench in the entire works because you always, I mean, there's going to be reasonable doubt now about this guy in Michigan. Why did he not come forward? Why did they have to find him? Why did his phone supposedly get destroyed right after this happened? And why did he ask if he was a suspect? I mean, there's just a lot of what if when
Yeah.
you bring this guy into it. I feel bad for her legacy because it would be horrific to have to, I mean, to be dead and people find out that you're having this illicit affair that you didn't want people to, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's
It's
definitely
horrible.
not away with him because he's around. So it's not like sometimes some people were saying, well, maybe she's in Ecuador,
Yeah,
you know, but,
exactly. But it just puts in other players who have reasons to not want her to be able to continue breathing.
right. Unless they just want us thinking this and then tomorrow they're going to come out with something.
I hope so, because right now, it's just all it did was tarnish her memory, and that's horrible. It made everybody think, well, obviously she wasn't the good little girl that she portrayed to be. And that's sad, because that's the last thing you want. People saying about you, post-mortem, you're dead, you know? They better have something good, because if I were her daughters, I would be mad. If they don't have enough evidence to convict them, I would be mad because this just put a taint on her memory. And he could possibly walk free because of it.
But so Sue's saying Barry's on trial, not the boyfriend. But how do we know that? Where I haven't like Deb's. I wish Deb comes on because where did she hear that he was 100% cleared? She got that from somewhere.
I mean, he may not have been anywhere around that day. He may have been in Michigan, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like they really investigated him too much.
Having a strong motive for defense. You don't mean the defense is providing. So you mean the prosecution, MCC, right? You say, MCC, you say, I disagree with this lady. The defense is providing a strong motive. You mean the prosecution for BM to murder her.
She portrayed to be. And that's sad because that's the last thing.
Oh, Sandra, you have to mute your YouTube. You think the affair was more of a motive? Do you remember that Barry was requesting old male friends on her Facebook after midnight on Saturday? No, I don't remember that, Snow Remover, because you have to remember when this happened, you remember what happened in my life, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I kind of missed out on the beginnings of this case, Snow Remover, because I really couldn't even concentrate on true crime at that time. So I missed out on that. There's probably a lot of things in the beginning I missed out on, Snow Remover.
Okay.
So, okay, Sandra, what's your thoughts?
I find it hard to believe that he did not know about the affair. And even if he did not know about the affair, he knew she was wanting to leave him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a motive right there.
But what do you
So
think about his text messages that they didn't, like, he wasn't, I'll kill you if you ever leave me. And it,
look
and it's,
at the
what,
Watts look at the Watts case. Chris never threatened to kill Shanann. She never thought Chris would hurt her.
right,
It
but
could
in that case, though, it's a little different because, first of all, it isn't the same because hold on, what was I going to say? So you're saying because she didn't know he would hurt her, but she was okay. She's the one that's essentially saying 7 times 70. Let's forgive. Let's get the books, and he's saying I don't want to work it out. But
you know what I'm saying in the respect that it is like the Watts case is that Shanann never thought Chris would hurt her.
right,
Never.
right, I agree.
She knew he was talking about divorce, but she never thought he would hurt her.
Right, I agree. Yeah.
And Chris never threatened her life. I mean, no, Barry did not threaten her life, and no, she
Right.
did not feel like Barry would kill her.
Right.
So, I mean, that doesn't prove anything that he didn't say, I'm going to kill you, or she didn't say, he's going to kill me. That wasn't the mindset. She never thought he would. This is my opinion. She never thought he would kill her.
Right, but why did he say the things like "You'll find your Fred"? Don't worry, you'll find your Fred.
Probably because he was angry. I mean, who wouldn't be? Your wife's going to leave you, even if you didn't know about the affair, she's going to leave you. People make snarky remarks. I mean, that right there shows that he knew she was planning on leaving him, or at least he thought she was. But people make snarky remarks when they're hurt. I just can't. And as far as her boyfriend, I could see it, but they've already cleared him. And I can really see it when you think about the fact that it was coming down to the wire because she's planning on leaving Barry. So what is this guy going to do if she leaves Barry? Unless he was really planning on leaving his wife. But he's been cleared, according to Ellie. He's been cleared.
Okay, and what do you think? They have something better for tomorrow?
Oh, I think they've got to have something. For number one, how could they file charges? They can't file charges and go, well, we're going to file these charges. I hope we find something.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They have to have something better than this tomorrow.
Exactly.
They've convicted people before on evidence that I've thought this is all circumstantial and there's too much reasonable doubt. I've seen people be convicted on things that really are just circumstantial evidence. There's
Right,
no
and
hard
we've
evidence.
seen OJ not guilty because
And there
that
was-
I mean, we've seen that too. So yeah, it's yeah.
I mean, I guess I look at it like if this boyfriend would have popped in the picture on day number 2 of her going missing, I think this entire thing would have been viewed a different way.
In Casey
I think
Anthony
the
too.
fact that he was not involved and nobody knew about him, I think that the spin became very Morphew, and they could have easily spun it towards this guy if he would have came forward or if they would have found out about him before 6 months after, the crime was happened. Because they didn't even know about him until November.
But why would he want to even if he loved her, he's got a wife and 6 kids. Why would he want to throw that out? I imagine he hoped they'd never find out.
I'm sure he was hoping that they would never find out. But if somebody that you claim to love and you're having an affair with goes missing, it's your duty as a citizen to do the right thing and tell what you know, because it could only help the investigation if he's not involved, not hinder it.
But what did he know? I mean, he was having an affair with her. He knew what she had told him, but as far as firsthand knowledge, he hadn't met Barry. He hadn't been around Barry. He only knew what she told him.
They went
So,
to school
I mean,
together.
what he was doing, right or wrong, is he was protecting himself, as most men will. He was looking out for number one. He didn't want his wife to know he was having an affair. So, right or wrong, he was looking out for number one. My opinion.
But if he didn't want his wife to know, I mean, all that does is that just gives him motive. I mean, all you're describing is motive for him to not want her to be his, to keep saying that she wants to be his wife.
I understand that, but the police have said he has been cleared. Now, it could come out that he hired someone to do it. I mean, that's not too far-fetched. But as far as the police are concerned, he's ruled out. So unless somebody's got some information, which you know how people will talk, he's cleared.
Well, I'm sure he makes a fat load of money too. I'm working for a pharmaceutical company. Is there some kind of executive?
Oh yeah, he's not hurting for money. Now, whether he was planning on leaving his wife and 6 kids, I mean, we don't really know whether he was playing her or whether he was serious. To me, if he was serious, you're right. He should have came
Well,
forward.
here's the other thing. Okay, everybody's thinking the motive's the affair, but the motive could be her inheritance, because he wouldn't get any of her. Okay, inheritance, when you get a divorce, is not, it doesn't get split up. Your inheritance
Right.
is your inheritance. The only way he would get her inheritance is if she dies. Then it could go to her, like if she had a will and it went to her kids. But if she divorced, she takes that inheritance with her. That's hers.
Good point.
Wasn't he within? Yeah, but wasn't he within a very short time of dying? Like they knew he was going to die very soon.
Yeah, I mean, but I think someone said that, yeah, she even had some inheritance prior to that, or did someone say? Or she was, that someone said prior to that, there was some too, I don't know. But that, yeah.
Well, that's another motive. Another motive. But I'm hoping tomorrow that we'll bring it. And poor, the other lady on the panel hasn't even had a chance to say a word. But I'm hoping that they're going to bring out what they've got, because I just cannot imagine.
But when did her, wait, hold on a second. When did her inheritance, it's her stepfather, isn't it? Who died?
Like her father or her stepfather, and he died during the summer right after she went missing.
But
So-
wait a second. If her family thought that he had anything to do with it, wouldn't they have changed the will?
I wouldn't even, because I don't think that they could actually, did they actually determine that she was dead? See, that was the thing that didn't make sense to me either, if this was about inheritance. He would have had to have the body somewhere where they could find it so they could legally claim her death, because I don't think they could legally claim her dead until so many months after. That's why he got the inheritance to begin with,
I
because
thought
they
the
were
girls
married.
got it or something. Didn't it go to the girls?
I think they split it between him and the girls. And from my understanding, it was because they hadn't pronounced her dead yet.
But to me, that's not right.
I mean, they're still legally married, even though she's missing, he's still legally married to her. They have to petition to have her, you have to go and petition to have somebody deemed as dead if there's no body.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So that would be stupid on Barry's part. If it had anything to do with inheritance, he would have needed a body to be found.
Very good point. Very good point.
Juanita says Suzanne put $500,000 into their new house. Barry did not want to have to sell up and give her half of his assets.
But the point's been made, it's a very good one. If he was worried about the inheritance, put her body where they can find it right away. She's dead. There's no problem with the inheritance. Probably why they did not change it was they were in shock. Who thinks of, you don't go, well, my
I don't know. I could tell you that if something happened to my daughter and I thought my son-in-law had something to do with it, I mean, I would think about it. I don't know. I just would.
but
Yeah,
I
but
would too, truthfully. But did
We're
they?
true crimers.
Yeah.
Were they thinking? I mean, I know some of them said they thought right away it was Very, but did their minds go into the will? I I can see where it might, but again, like Jennifer said, they didn't change it. I mean, and it's not right, but it's the law. He should not have profited from it until after this trial, to me, my own opinion.
Deb,
Absolutely.
People's Team for Justice, did you fall off the call? I was just going to get to you. Can you try to call in again? Yeah, I don't know. This is just really like throwing me for a loop because I wasn't watching anything today. I was out getting Jimmy and then on the lake, and so when we came back, he's like, "Oh my gosh, look at this," and I'm like, "Wow." So
I hadn't watched it that much at all, just from what I've read.
yeah.
I didn't, it got on my nerves trying to listen to them give their reading of it. That was getting on my last nerve. So I did not watch that. I just get from what I get in here. But common sense to me, my common sense, which isn't that common, says who else? Who, even though her boyfriend was involved in mountain biking and all that, yes, she probably did get that from him, but that doesn't mean that he killed her or had her
No.
killed anything else.
I just think he made himself look suspect by not coming forward, trying to hide it. His phone was destroyed, and then asking if he was a suspect, which is bizarre.
I mean, but let's also say devil's advocate. Here's this guy. She's gone. He doesn't know. Like, did he think immediately she was dead? And then he's thinking, I've got a wife, 6 kids.
Yeah.
If she leaves me now, she's going to take all my money. And what the hell am I going to do? And she thinks I ended this thing back in whenever the daughter found the text messages, right?
Right.
So he might have just freaked out when she went missing, thinking that even the wife is going to go through his phone.
True.
He just sounds like a piece of garbage from just.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it
he
sounds
could
like
be.
he
He
was-
could be, a total piece of garbage. He's cheating on his wife with 6 kids. Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't call him, stellar material
Yeah.
there. But he just may be a bad guy. I mean, bad morally guy.
Well,
it
he
sounds
had,
like
he
yeah.
had to be able to cheat on his wife like that, but that doesn't make you a murderer.
Right, and then cheat on her again. Exactly. So he could just be a serial cheater, or what? Maybe he had other girlfriends. Maybe this was not his first time. Hey, Deb.
Exactly.
Oh, she's connecting up. Let's see what she has to say. Deb, you have to mute your YouTube.
Hi guys, yeah, I just realized
Oh,
I had that on. How are you?
okay.
How's it?
How are you?
Hi, doing well.
Okay, so what? Tell me about this. So, what is your thoughts on this? About this?
Yeah, well, I would say that, I agree with Jennifer in that Jeff seems a bit suspicious in the fact that it took 6 months for him to be found out, and it was Ali that found out about the affair, and he didn't come forward. He didn't profess her love or even just let law enforcement know of his connection to her and the situation surrounding it, despite, he said he was concerned about losing his job. Of course, he has, 6 children. He's married. That's a factor. I mean, those those can be reasonable in a person's mind, but I can see how Jennifer, it seems really suspicious. If he really loved Suzanne, he would have stepped up immediately, 2 days after you were saying, and at least just contact law enforcement and let them know, what's up in order to help find Suzanne and not let it go so long to the point that it took Ellie to figure it out.
Right,
Yeah,
and
I
even
agree.
if he thought, like, let's say she was telling him that Barry's going to kill me, right? If he finds out, then if he did really love her and he really did think Barry did this, wouldn't he want justice for her, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's all speculation, but I mean, we have to understand this is, the charges are against Barry Morphew,
Yeah.
and
But
he is the one, that's being charged. He's the one that has these charges, but, it's not to assume that Jeff hasn't been investigated. You need to realize that they have vetted him completely.
where
They're
did but where did you see that? That is that out there somewhere?
No, I mean, I find it to be common sense. They're not going to go after Barry, not
Okay.
completely confirming Jeff has nothing to do with anything. There has to be some sort of alibi. I mean, all kinds of, layered factors of proof that he couldn't have done it. He was in another state. He was here at this time. Anything to
Okay.
do with his communications, having someone else do it, they would have investigated that thoroughly
Okay.
before they brought these charges onto Barry. I can see how the defense might try, the defense might try to plant that seed, but at the end of the day, that's not where we're going to find any benefit of the doubt. However, I do think there are some interesting areas of benefit of the doubt, and that supposedly Suzanne's cell phone pinged away from the home at 4 something in the morning.
Yeah, 4:23 a.m. I think. Yeah.
I think because of the rural area and cell phone towers and the way things might have to triangulate in the pinging, the RTT data, the defense might be able to say her phone wasn't away at that time. It was actually at home, or, can't confirm it one way or the other. That could give some benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to this extramarital affair, I don't believe that the target is going to be pushed over to Jeff.
I don't think it'll be pushed over to him, but I think that it gives the defense, I think that it gives them reasonable doubt in a court of law, because there's so many other facets now that we're just not, they didn't really know about. And I guess my other question, I don't remember, do you remember when they arrested Barry?
May 5th or 8th of 2021.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
So-
Something else. Yeah.
But the thing about it is, really, we're just, as we should be, we're just discussing all of this. But what the prosecution brings out is what's going to either seal the deal.
Yeah, because they have to have something more than that. That's a lot of people are asking, like, besides if they didn't put this affair out as motive, what is the prosecution going with here?
Right.
And I agree with you, Sandra, but then let's think about this hurdle. The fact that it's been noted today during the preliminary hearings that one of Suzanne's daughters suggested to Suzanne that maybe she should get a restraining order against Barry, her own father. That's going to be
Where did you see
hard to
that?
get
I
over.
saw one said a divorce.
Both. A divorce was an option and a restraining order.
Okay, I didn't see the restraining order.
Well, that opens a can of worms. So there must have been something physical or maybe emotional. I would think more physical if the daughter was suggesting a restraining order.
But the one also suggested a divorce.
Yes, I saw both. And then that combined with the, the story or the the details of when, I don't know, what was it that Suzanne had done or said to Barry? Was it that she confronted him with the options of a divorce or suggesting a divorce, and then the pushing into the closet and putting a gun to his head?
Right.
I mean, that's enough there. That would scare anyone from wanting to move forward with the
Yeah,
divorce.
but also it could also be used the other way. Like he was going to kill himself, not her. He never said he would kill her. He said that you'll find your own Fred, meaning the mother's second marriage. Maybe he meant like I don't know. I don't know the details of the mother's second marriage. If her first husband died or she divorced him, but if her first husband died, then he could be saying, if I kill myself, meaning him, you can go find your other Fred.
But at the end of the day, it's psychological terrorism.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of marriages that are like Deb, I was saying, there's people I know that are worse that about stuff like this, and I don't know. Somebody might say that doesn't necessarily mean he's a murderer. I don't know. I'm playing
But
devil's
that's a very
advocate.
serious situation, and that's enough to be, he pulled out a gun, he put it to his head. I don't know if he's going to kill him. He threatened to kill himself. I don't know if he was going to kill himself, kill me, kill himself. I don't know, but that whole scenario seems like some justification to a restraining order, or at least it does indicate that there's
Yeah,
some
but let's look
severe
at how many women freak out right now. This is okay. There's a lot of women. How many times have we heard that their husband's going to leave them, and they're calling that they're going to kill themselves? They won't be able to live. Or, like there's lots of women that I've known that have done that. Even ones that have told the husbands that they thought they had cancer, or anything to keep the husband.
That's what I was thinking. My first thought when I heard that about him holding the gun to his head was wanting her to feel guilty, wanting her to feel sympathy, wanting her to worry about was he going to kill himself? Because if he did, it will be all her fault. That was my first
Yeah,
thought.
I mean, because there's a lot. I mean, we don't a lot of times hear about men doing it, but there are men that do that. Like if you leave me, I'll kill myself. If you leave me, I won't be able to live. But there's plenty of women that do that kind of stuff too.
But
So
you know what we don't see in these cases? We don't see emotionally traumatized women carrying on an illicit affair for almost 2 years because they're too freaking scared to do something like that. That takes guts, and that takes a level of. And I'm not, I'm just going back to that because I know that I in my friend's situation, she was terrified to even start dating people because of her ex-husband, and he was an ex. So, I mean, for her to be having this affair for almost 2 years, and during this time, he puts a gun to his head and says, "Is this what you want?" I mean, if it was emotionally traumatizing, she wasn't showing it, and she didn't seem that worried about it because she still was not going to give up what she had going on.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only indication to that of any concern or fear of him finding out was when she had said to Jeff that Barry was on her phone, so maybe he could look at text or he could look at things, so to switch it to LinkedIn.
right.
So that could be an indicator that, she was aware that she didn't want Barry to find out because there would be repercussions, whether she's, in fear of her life or not. I'm not sure it explains it to that degree, but I get what you're saying. But I do think that, just that instance with the gun is terrifying enough. But I understand that that happens in relationships, and it doesn't mean that someone's going to actually go through with it. But it's still terrifying nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm sure. Yeah.
what was her reasoning for starting the affair? Normally, if you're happy at home and everything's ducky-wucky, you're not going to run out and have an affair with someone.
I think I think probably the reason what she found in Jeff is she found comfort for her illness. She had just, like in 2018, found out that she had cancer again and was going to be going through some really hard things. And I don't think Barry was very empathetic to her needs when it comes to that. And I think she probably started talking to this guy who actually made her feel good about herself.
Yeah,
cancer.
Yeah, and you know what? They were together since they were 17, And a lot of people like that, like some of them, yeah, can cement them together for like all time, great. But others grow apart. And then when they rekindle with someone that maybe they had something going on, a connection way back in the day, and they just start
Yeah.
talking innocently, but then they start all those connections and all that stuff comes back.
Right.
And she's not getting that from Barry because she's been with him for so long. And,
Right.
you know,
she's dealing with cancer, and he probably is. She's probably thinking, "Oh, he sees me different because I have cancer," and that's always a,
right.
that's always a hard position.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not just a random dude that she met somewhere.
Right.
He's actually from her high school.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Together in high school, they dated.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that was even before Barry, actually. So that kind of says a little bit too, that
Right.
it was a friend that turned into something,
Yeah.
that rekindled her, turned into something more, where she could, be comforted. And it's just, he
she's
was
battling,
what Barry wasn't. So yeah, I get that. Mhm.
I
She's
think what
battling cancer for a second time in her life, and maybe she just wanted to. Maybe he reminded her of her younger days when she was young and carefree and wasn't sick.
I think Carolyn hit the nail on the head, because you think about it, and her husband's not really into being comforting and loving and caring about, the way he needs to be. And then she needs someone from her past, and it brings up all those memories of what they had together, and kind of does take her back. And it's very comforting, because it's not just somebody she's met, somebody she has a past with. I don't think I would do that, but I've never been in that position.
Exactly, like not being a proponent for, infidelity, but in a bit of a way, this is such a tragic situation. At the end of the day, you kind of hope, at least the romantic side in me does hope, that that was her true love she came to find. I mean, this was a year and a half, almost 2 years that they had this affair, that he did mean a lot to her. Hopefully it was the same on his end. We don't know. I just don't think that he has anything to do with him, with this, her missing. But the point is that if she was truly in love with this guy, it's not really us to judge the situation. But what's so tragic is we just hope that, her last days were feeling loved. If you look at the last text message that she sent to Jeff before she went missing, was, we should get married. We should be husband and wife. And that, to me, it's so sad and tragic, but at least she was feeling loved,
And also, if it was not for her, is it not for her? There's a lot in there that she was more afraid of disappointing God.
Yeah, she was remorseful.
Right.
She was
But
God's forgiveness for it.
But if she could find out that he was having an affair, that was good. Then she could go. She feels
right. It would be justified, perhaps, in her.
Right. But wouldn't abuse, being in an dangerous abusive relationship, also could be biblical grounds?
A lot of Christians don't look at it that way.
No, they don't.
They want, I don't care. I mean, the old way of thinking is you stay with the husband or you stay with the wife no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, seriously, no matter what. I don't believe in that, because God did not put us here to be beat on, emotionally abused. He didn't. And people they were together since they were 17. They were kids. They were going to grow up, and they were going to be different people. But of course, at 17, you know everything. You figure this is it for the rest of your life. Well, it wasn't. And I can understand where she was coming from, and really hoping he was having an affair. But at the same, if Barry was being emotionally abusive, not giving her the attention she needed and the caring she needed and all, I don't think God was going to strike her dead for leaving. But that's not the way that we are taught as Christians the old way you stay. I don't care if they beat you every day and beat your kids and whatever. You do not break your vows. You don't do it.
And you
that's
can
what,
tell you can tell she had that kind of devotion too, just because of the fact that she wasn't looking at her affair. She was looking at, if he commits adultery, I can get out of this
right.
marriage. I mean, that was all she was focused on. So obviously she had that beat into her head from a young age that this is the only reason you can get a divorce.
Well, isn't very very religious, and perhaps that he staunchly believes that, and preach that, and perhaps not literally but figuratively pounded that into her head that we can't get divorced. That's against
The Bible.
That's against the Bible.
Yeah, and then I don't know how much it was just for appearances, because after all, she was they weren't separated or anything, and she was having an affair.
Right.
So,
I just thought the same thing.
yeah.
She should have, if she didn't have guilt, then there was something wrong with her. Because if she believed that strongly in her vows, it would have never crossed her mind.
Yeah, and that's why it makes me think that she really did love Jeff, or she at least felt that strongly.
He was what she needed. He is what she thought she needed at the time. To me, he gave her what she needed. But, and this sounds horrible to say with her missing and all, but she should have looked at herself, because if she was taught that way, it was wrong what she was doing, whether she did it one time or 2 years. So two rights don't make a wrong, and her wanting him to have an affair, which I'm sure she did, that's not right.
Right.
She was wrong from the beginning.
And who's wrong in whose eyes, it depends. But at the end of the day, she's gone and he's being charged for her murder. And infidelity and divorce, leaving a spouse is not justification for murder. So
no, but you know what? Here's the thing. With Kelsey Barrett, right? When no body was found until they found more than that. But there was significant blood loss and stuff, found. And with Jennifer Dulos, the same thing. Here we don't have any of those areas of significant blood loss. We don't have someone like, the mistress coming in and showing where she cleaned up the crime scene, right?
yeah,
We
don't
essentially don't have a body and we don't have blood. And so what if the reasonable doubt is really Gone Girl? You have Ecuador in the, could they start thinking, wait a second, maybe she's not dead? Do they
if I
have
were her defense
something?
attorney, that's where I'd be going. I'd be going right there. I'd be like, there's no proof she's dead. She could have ran.
I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, she would. There's ways to find out who's taken a flight, passports, and all this and that. She would have had to have used a fake name, an alias, fake passport to get there. There's flight lists and stuff. She was on a plane. FBI would have been all over that. They probably have and looked into it and ruled it out. So I can see where any defense would go that route for, causing benefit of the doubt. But then again, I don't think that prosecution would be doing this if they didn't have that all.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, there must be coming out with something when they're talking about him disposing of evidence and stuff between those hours. Maybe they're going to bring out, like I said, maybe there's some surveillance footage like they caught Photos Doulos or that hasn't come out yet.
Exactly.
But also, there didn't have to be blood. If he strangled her, other cases, there was no blood.
Right. Yeah, but they had dogs and everything, and I don't think anything was.
Even in strangulation, you should have some type of vomit, or you should have something, because usually if somebody is asphyxiated, they are going to vomit. and
But-
before they die, and so you're going to have some DNA.
Did they have that in the Watts case?
You're going to have that kind of DNA in a home or a car, regardless. Blood DNA is different than, body
The vomit, right.
DNA. So it's harder to explain blood splatter evidence or a pool of blood than it is a pool of vomit.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I just think that I think it's sad because I think she truly loves this guy.
But
What?
Jennifer, yeah, I was going to say to your point and what you're saying, isn't it interesting that Mallory's sheets were off the bed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Perhaps the altercation happened there, or she was placed there at some point in time.
And
you know,
were those
that-
sheets found too? Do we know where those sheets are?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even if he washed those sheets, wouldn't they still have DNA on them? I mean, I don't know. Does that actually, I mean, it always seems like they find the DNA somehow, even if something's been washed. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It just seems like they should.
Yeah. Blood, there might be traces of blood, but very hard to.
Yeah, because they could say, oh, well, she slept in the bed with the daughter. Oh, she might have vomited in bed with the yeah, I mean, where are
But-
those sheets though? But and then who's to say which sheets were on the bed? But where are they?
Right. We don't know.
Were they in
But
the
if
wash?
you-
Where were they?
Yeah. No blood on the mattress, because I remember when they had conducted the search, you could see law enforcement who were coming in and out, the CSI folks. And there's one particular photo that media took of an agent with a bottle of luminol, and it was a large bottle, and there was just a little bit left in it. So looking back now, hindsight 2020, they were spraying likely a lot of luminol in there, and now we've learned there's no major blood found.
Blood.
So you can see right there, they looked for it. They used a whole giant bottle of luminol to try and find it, and now we know they didn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Barry
doesn't mean
seems,
she wasn't killed there, but it just means there's no blood.
well, and Barry seems egotistical,
Then
and
goes
that's
into proving if she's dead or not. So you're right. All of you are right about that. Like, how are they going to move on without a body? At least in the Kelsey Barris case, there was blood evidence and Bulos and all that. So,
Isn't it something like 5 years somebody has to be missing before they actually can do I mean, I remember seeing a case where it was like a cold case, but it took like 5 years for them to pronounce this person dead. And they came up, 20 years later and found the body. But I think there's some type of a time frame or something that has to go on. Maybe every state's different.
Yeah, you would think so. Does that mean then there's something that they have that shows that they can say and prove? We can show and prove to the jury, if we move forward, that Suzanne is no longer with us. It's not just an assumption. We have some proof to.
What if they found the body? Are they going to
No.
come out and say they found the body?
They're not going to just throw that out in the middle of everything. as a
Right, yeah.
surprise to everyone. We would not do that.
Yeah, they have to have something that says, because they're charging him with murder, so they have to have something that says that overwhelmingly we think she's dead. But so far, I mean, with what they started out with today, they're not, hopefully they're going to have some kind of bombshell, or else this guy needs to walk because they don't have it. And not that he's not guilty, but you got to be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And we don't have a jury system if you can just basically say, well, he was the husband, last one who saw her, and so we're going to just, we think that it's him, but we don't have any really good evidence or hardcore evidence to prove it. I mean, they pissed around in that Dulos case for a long time before even charging him.
And they
And
waited
they
a
had
long
him.
time in this case. It was a year before he was arrested. So, you think that they worked very hard to make sure that they had all the I's dotted and the T's crossed.
And they had to bring out the affair, because if they had not brought it out, the defense would have, and that would have looked even worse. So they had to bring out all the nasty, get the nasty out of the way, and then bring in what you got.
Yep. I think Carolyn's right. It's going to be cell phone pings and CCTV that's going to.
There's just got to be something tomorrow that comes out that's like, oh wow, aha, Um,
That just completely contradicts what his story was and what he said.
right, and this may be a tactic again. I think this has to. I mean, if it's not a tactic, it's terrible. So it's got to be a tactic again to lead in with this, and leave it like that, and then go in with the big, well, but this is why he's been arrested.
Yeah, because just because this car door opened at 4 something in the morning or 3 something in the morning doesn't mean he murdered her. It's
Right.
going to have to be a lot of circumstantial evidence and, big time.
Right, you were gonna have to see him somewhere driving in the area where her phone pings, or you know what I mean, or throwing her phone out somewhere, or throwing something out. I don't know.
Yeah, him on the road at 3 whatever around the area where her phone pinged.
Right, because
That
if
would
they
be
have the
right.
evidence from his truck that shows the open and the closing of the door, wouldn't it also show his truck on the road at when the time of the phone ping?
You would
Yeah,
think so.
Right?
engaged.
They wouldn't just
it
say the
wouldn't-
opening of his door.
Yeah, so like even if his engine's engaged between this time and that time, perhaps, if it's showing that his door was open, I'm sure it would show his engine was engaged and perhaps how many miles on that trip. I don't know how. I mean, I thought it was crazy that our cars you can tell when your door has been open, and that's in the computer. I guess they have technology to pull all that data. Obviously, not readily to us, the owner of the car, but interesting that it tracks and it logs everything that happens within the car. They're able to retrieve it. So if they're able to retrieve just the doors opening, what else do they have?
Yeah, they've got to have something more.
Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't Barry at some hotel because he had some work thing
Yes.
going on. And
Yes.
when did he leave for that? Do we know?
Yes, he left. So he left that morning, right? And that's when he left at, what did they say, 5:30? 5:30, and she was still sleeping. But that
So they should be able to see where he was at, because if they can get his opening and closing of the door. Okay, so did he open and close? Did he open and close the door? Because obviously, if he's going to load a body into his truck, it would be like the Chris Watts thing, where he would have to do a few things. It's not like he's just going to load up the body and go,
right.
and then drive to the hotel, and he's and they don't have him stopping, along the road to whatever. I mean, it just, that in itself is kind of strange, because you know what I mean? It just,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what's the significance? He could easily say, "Oh yeah, I left at 5:30. I was just loading the car up then. That's all that was. So what's the big deal with that?" There
Right.
seems to be that there's more data that's going to come from that vehicle.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
they've got something. Yeah.
to say,
they have to have some kind of data.
open your door kind of thing. And that's what this preliminary trial is about. It's, is there enough here to take this forward? And they're kind of hinting into that. That's where we're going.
But the problem is that the whole her affair thing came out, and this was from the prosecution who brought it out. So the defense hasn't even gotten a hold of all the nitty gritty, dirty little things that they're going to try and paint. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're only going on what the prosecution said. They're like, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And we're all like, she was having a 2-year affair. Well, now the defense. I mean, they have got everything on that little storied secret. And that's all going to be coming out when they get to, bring their stuff up and say, this is why we think that there's reasonable doubt that he did it. And there's too many other players involved, because look at, the boyfriend. The fact that they put their relationship on hold because they didn't want anybody to know, and now she's talking about being his wife, and maybe he doesn't like that. And I mean, the defense hasn't even gotten their chance to present the affair evidence. The prosecution's the one who brought it out and said, okay, yeah, we're getting this out of the way. But
Yeah,
I have a feeling they're gonna.
Good strategic move for the defense, that's not really something they want to bring up first if they don't have to, because, that sheds, some kind of negative connotation onto the victim. It was probably strategically a better move for them to wait and let the defense air that out the way they want to, but for prosecution in the meantime have their ducks in a row to say, there's no way it was this Jeff guy. Don't even try to go and believe that. Here's why. Here's proof. Yada yada yada. So
Right.
But doesn't the defense have to turn over their discovery to the prosecution?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, they would know, the prosecution would know what the defense has got. So it must not have been anything really shocking, I wouldn't think.
Well, if it wasn't shocking, they wouldn't have brought up her affair. The defense or the prosecution would never want that brought up firsthand and say, okay, we know this went on. So they know that the defense has stuff that they're going to try and pinpoint her in a very, very, very bad light.
Yeah,
and it's
I
going to
think
be worse than the prosecution.
delay here. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I agree with you, except that the defense definitely seems to me they would be bringing it up because it seems like part of what would be very well be a very good motive for Barron.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I believe they always did and always would bring this situation up. They just acquiesced to let the defense try to do their little thing with bringing it up first, and then just challenge it and, move forward without, trying to do some kind of preventive type of cover for Suzanne. It was better just to say, oh, well, they're accusing Suzanne of this being this person, that, and Jeff potentially being a possibility involved in this. And no, that's not what happened here. It is, and here's what they worked on. And so I have a feeling that's how it's probably going to work.
Well, and do you think that, I mean, if I were the defense, I would want him on the stand, at least teleconference. I would want this man, I would want him as a witness because he was one of the last people that had contact with her.
He wasn't, he might be, wasn't he, wait, hold on a minute.
It
Well,
might
they
be
heard
on.
through he may be. I mean, we don't know, right?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering, if they're going to throw him on there as a witness and if they're going to ask him questions, because I know he's worried about his job and stuff.
Did they play his interview with the police, or I don't know if they played it or they mentioned it. I just don't know why we can't see this. It's so hard getting this information just through these tweets.
Well, it just opens up the media's ability to twist and turn, and then places like YouTube and Facebook to come up with all this made up stuff. And I mean, I have seen it all. Some of it you would think that they have a guilty verdict, and this channel, not this channel, but the channel that's reporting it, are the only ones that have the guilty verdict. It's ridiculous, and people go in and see it all the time. It's like, where are your brains?
It just seems to me, this is what makes me think that this is going to be such a red herring for this case, because of the fact that it's thrown in there in the middle. We've got Barry Morphew, who's supposedly the only one who has motive to kill her, but now you're throwing some other guy who didn't even want his wife to know about it. I mean, it just seems like they're going to be, if I were the defense, I would be pulling a Casey Anthony and making it so that you skew the water so much that nobody can really say one way or another what's going on. And unfortunately, this idiot, who it sounds like he's an idiot, gave them the perfect opportunity to do. And I think it's sad in her memory because Barry probably did do something to her. I have no doubt. But the fact of the matter is it going to be enough to convict him? I don't know. They're going to be able to put a lot of reasonable doubt, because as soon as I heard about that affair, I was like, oh, no.
I wasn't, because my first thought was there's a motive.
I'd like to think that Drew Nielsen is, you know, above that whole Jose Baez, Casey Anthony crap. I think we've seen evidence that she's been really very, very good in challenging things legal wise, you know, objections and everything. She's very, very detailed and litigiously, like, how would you say the word? I can't think of it, but she's very thorough with that. But I don't think that she would do anything like Jose Baez. I would like to think she didn't. I mean, I'm just not happy with her and how she got the deal for the Devil, KK, and Kelsey Barris case. And just beside myself with that. But legal wise, she was genius. She's genius with just the fine print details, knowledge that you need to have to strategically work a case by the book. And so that's what I mean when I say I'd like to think that she's above the Jose Baez crap.
Right.
The defense is going to give prosecution a good fight. I mean,
Yeah.
They're going to jump. They're going to do everything. They
And
need
that's
to
their
do.
job.
And that's their job. But she's very, very good at it. And he's got a good team. And it's up to prosecution. You know, the weight is on their shoulders because they've got these severe charges. You know, it's not manslaughter or, you know, we don't even think that they're going to try and let him get away with crime of passion because they're already pointing out that, well, in a crime of passion, you don't then later take the time and deliberations to go and hide and bury, conceal the body. That's not a crime. It's no longer a crime of passion. So it seems like they're going to, you know, cover that as well.
Yeah.
You know.
And on a
And
side
tomorrow-
note, on a little side note, did you see the news report where they were showing the fairgrounds room where they're streaming this, and then they had some guy outside and they were interviewing him, and he said he was used to work with Barry, and he said, I'm there with my wife listening to this, and then he said a lot of stuff is going to come out, and he hinted because they already knew about the affair, and then he said a lot more is coming out. And then he said, I wish they would have followed up on the tip that I gave them. And then he said, maybe they have.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was some interview on a news station. And it was one of their local news stations because they took a video of the inside the fairgrounds room where it was being streamed. They showed this guy and his wife, and he worked with Barry, he said, in construction and stuff, and he knew him. And he said, this is, very interesting, and a lot's come out, but I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot more coming out.
But I wonder if he was talking about
You said
from
four?
Barry.
No, it was
Or-
after the affair, because it was at the end of, it was like, that had already come out.
But is he talking about more is going to come out on Barry, or more is going to come out?
Well,
On Suzanne.
then, because, then that's what I was saying. Like, is he one of Barry's friends and is for Barry? But then he says, I wish they would have followed up on the tip I gave them. And then he goes, maybe they have.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
So,
Okay.
Well,
So was
I'm
it
gonna go
Suzanne
back.
who bought the spy
I don't
pen?
need to.
what?
Was it
I'm gonna go
Suzanne
back.
who?
Oh, you guys are both talking at the same time.
Sorry.
I just want to say I was going to go back to chat.
Oh, okay, Sandra. Thanks for coming up.
Okay. Yes,
Hi.
ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, dear.
Okay, so what were you saying, Jennifer?
So who is it that implemented the spy pen? Was it Suzanne or Barry? It was
Suzanne.
who got the spy pen.
Yes.
And isn't that ultimately how they found out about the affair?
Yes.
Was her talking in front of the. Okay. I
Yes.
wanted to get that clear because I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes. So it makes it sound like if she never got that spy pen, they would never know about the affair.
Doesn't sound like it.
Unless, because they didn't, but what about, her phone was gone. They had to use what was backed up on the iCloud. So maybe that WhatsApp and those secret groups they couldn't get. Is that what happened there?
It sounds like it could have been, yeah, because from what I understood, the spy pen is what gave it all out. And I'm like, didn't she get the spy pen? Like she cut off her nose to spite her face type thing.
But then he also said his phone was destroyed.
Yeah, he did. He said like 2 days later.
Right.
He said, well, my phone was destroyed like 2 days later, which, I mean, is kind of strange because whose phones both people had phones. I don't know.
Right. So if the phone is destroyed, okay, then what? They can only get what's in the cloud.
And if she didn't back up to her iCloud.
The cell phone company keeps your latitude, longitude, where every call is made, and
Yeah, but I mean, like those little secret apps and all that stuff, probably you can't get to those. And that's what I wanted to look up. Someone said she used something called Voxer. What is that?
Yeah, I never heard of that.
yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Okay, while you check it out, I was just going to say about the spy pen. Yeah, Jennifer, apparently she did get that, and she got it with the assistance of her friend. And apparently she said, her justification was that she told her friend she thought Barry was cheating. Was she telling the truth? We don't know, but was she getting the spy pen because she was hoping to find him cheating, or one cheater? If you're a cheater, then you think others are cheating on you also. So it was, a way to try and catch him, or was she really,
Yeah, because I don't.
Her, what was she up to? Was she trying to record her conversations with her boyfriend too? What was she trying to document that was interesting that she got?
The spy pen, and then it ended up showing her affair, which was just bizarre to me. I was like, why would you have the spy pen within listening distance of you talking with your boyfriend, knowing the spy pen is there, him not knowing it's there, and her knowing it's there?
Yeah. And my goodness, all the data that it can hold on that little pen, 5 hours of conversation that they're able to retrieve after deleting. That's one heck of a spy pen. Where do you get that?
I don't know. I didn't even know they existed. I was like, what's a spy pen?
Yeah, we actually got one of those years ago. They asked me to review it, but I don't think it would have that, like, able to record like 5 hours like that.
Yeah, does it just pick up every voice?
Yeah, I have to ask Jimmy where ours is, and we'll have to take a look at it. But look at this. This is Voxer, and it's for businesses, really. It's for team management, but it says private network, control privacy settings for your organization. So it looks like a walkie-talkie communication where you can talk live to someone, or you can like listen to it later. And they say the private network. So perhaps, that's where they talked or something. I don't know. One-on-one chats.
That's some sneaky stuff. So it tells us two things. They're super, super sneaky. And the other one is she really did not want Barry to find out.
Mm-hmm. End-to-end encryption.
And nor did he, because he felt like Barry would go after him.
Live and recorded voice.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
It look like they're working. God, that's so sketchy.
Walkie-talkie mode. Yeah, so, I mean, that's what that is.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's so sad because I think she truly was in love with this Jeff, whatever his name was, but I don't think that I think he was playing her. I think that he was just telling her things she wanted to hear because, he lived in Michigan, she lived in Colorado. He wasn't, when his wife found out, they had to back off, and we don't even know what he told her.
Right.
Why he had to back off. He didn't necessarily say to her, "Oh, my wife found out, I got to back off." I mean, to her, he could have been saying, "I'm getting a divorce." I mean, he could have been using all the lines of crap.
Yeah, and if you look at him, let's just say he was comfortable with, okay, she was a great person to talk to, and then they would hook up whenever they could, whenever it was available. And he thought, well, she'll never leave him because it's not going to. So I've got the perfect thing. If I can keep saying, yeah, I want to marry you, but she still has to get divorced, right?
Right.
And maybe he thought, okay, she never will, but we can still have our little thing. and I can still have my wife and 6 kids and not have to lose that. And maybe he just thought, well, I've got an emotional connection with her and a physical whenever I can have it. And then with the wife, I'm not going to disturb my kids' life and make their life hell or something. We can keep that intact for the kids. And, maybe he thought like nobody's any the wiser.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
And then-
what would be the plan to move to? Where would you move to? Would she move to Michigan? Would he
No,
move
but
to
I
Colorado?
think he was just like okay, he's just saying she's not going to be able to get divorced, so it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, sure, honey, we'll go to Ecuador, we'll go to Hawaii, we'll go wherever, but thinking like it's not going to come true because she's not going to be able to get divorced.
And to her, it's the real thing. And to him, to her, I think she really thought we'll be together someday, and she wanted to be with him and was in love with him. And I think he was, he was just, he was kind of playing off of her emotions.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about it because if it really was serious, he'd have to tell his wife and everything, right? And why
Right.
wouldn't he say something like, well, I've already spoken to whatever her name is about getting a divorce. I've already spoken to her about how we're going to, share custody or whatever. You don't see that or hear that.
But
And it sounds like
we did hear that his daughter knew about the affair and his brother knew about the affair.
But then they
But we
cooled it.
Hear that the wife knows about it. So then does that tell us that the daughter and the brother never told the wife?
I
about
think
the
they
affair?
did, but then they cooled it. Remember, they took a break? So I think she might have found out, he might have begged forgiveness, or he begged his daughter and his brother not to tell. Either way, it's supposed to have been cooled off. But then they started up again.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
so. I wonder what his reasoning to her for cooling it off was. That's what I wonder. Did he admit that he got caught? Because it sounds like she thought that they were open in that way, that they were definitely moving towards.
Yeah,
the house to be
I
together.
don't know what he said to her. Like that's what I want to hear more of. Like what happened when the daughter found this out and she told them? Did the wife know? Did he tell her that my daughter found this out? I don't know.
Because to me, when you have something like that, and wasn't one of her last things that she said to him, like, I want to marry you, or I want us to be husband and wife, and didn't he say something back to her
I
like,
want
"You're
to
so
marry me
beautiful"?
then, or something like marry me. But he
Okay, yeah,
he knows like they can't, right? Because he's married and she's married. So it's like, there's a lot of guys out there that would say that to someone.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, because they know there's no chill. Can you marry me? Okay, let's go. Oh no, I can't. I'm married and you're married. Okay,
Right.
That's twofold though, Carolyn. So yeah, that's obvious. But then
Yeah.
what about where he said, if Barry knew, he would have gone after him. Maybe he's afraid. He knows Barry would beat his ass, or maybe perhaps to the level of kill him if.
Right, but then you could also say in November is when he finally came forward, and where Barry probably knew, and then 6 months to May, was he afraid for his life? Was he in witness protection? What?
Yeah, because
So
he
in
would have
November,
been.
they found out.
What?
Were you saying that in November?
That's when they found out about the affair. They didn't know about it for 6 months.
The cops did
The
not
investigators
know about the
didn't know. So I
But by then it's an investigation, and you really can't. I'm sure he was advised to just keep.
But
keep it
if
shut.
he was really afraid Barry was going to kill him, wouldn't he have been terrified?
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm saying. probably was.
Wouldn't you have gone to the cops and say, "Hey, look, I was having an affair with this woman, and now she's gone, and they think her husband killed her, and I don't know if he's going to come after me or my family."
Exactly. That's just such an odd thing. Why just why didn't he come forward? And just saying you're afraid of losing your job or even your marriage is just not good enough.
It's not good enough when somebody's missing.
But it is what it is. It doesn't mean, it really doesn't, point to anything one way or the other to divert it away from Barry and more direct it onto him, because he didn't do it. I mean, that's going to be proven. So, but
But
it
how
just,
are they
it
going
just
to
speaks
prove
to his
that?
character, I guess. And you guys, yeah, maybe he just didn't care as much for her as she did for him. And then that's just another heartbreaking thing to think about because,
I know it's horrible, isn't it, to think about that her legacy is going to be left with she had a tawdry affair and the guy didn't even care enough to even care that she was missing. I mean, that's so.
yeah,
I would like. I think if I were her kids, I would want to go up and kick his butt just for the fun of it because now everybody knows their mother's had an affair and this guy is just gets to go on living his life like nothing ever happened. It just or whatever.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem right.
yeah, he even termed himself as that guy, quote unquote, in his one statement that he said that, yeah, I didn't want her legacy to be, that she had this torrid affair with, quote unquote, that guy. I mean, he even titled himself that way when he had an opportunity to say something more, with
Caring.
me, even though I loved her so much, or no, there was no professing anything for her. He was okay
Uh-uh.
to just be quote unquote that guy. So yeah, it speaks to that about him.
Yeah, it does. It does say that he was not a nice guy and probably a real player. I mean, I doubt this was his first go around.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I guess tomorrow we'll know more. Maybe there'll be some bombshell tomorrow that'll change some things here. But
Well, and they both of these families. I mean, her family and his family. I mean, it sounds like they were pretty well off. So she did have needs. You're talking about they'd have to get passports and this, that, and the other. I mean, this guy was. If he worked for Eli Lilly, he's rich. And then you've got, these families who both come from a lot of money. Suzanne, even though they were quote unquote having financial problems, it's really like having financial problems of the rich, not of the poor. There's a big difference.
yeah, but you have to remember also if he's wealthy, the guy with the Eli Lilly, right? But that's probably his first wife and 6 kids.
Yeah.
She's gonna take him to the cleaners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cheaper.
So
Keeper to keeper. Yeah, you're right, Dina.
So you know what I mean? He may be one of those guys that can't get it. There's a lot of guys. I don't know. I've known a lot of them that won't get a divorce, even though they're out of love with their wife. They don't even sleep in the same room as their wife. But to separate their money or to give their money, they can't do it. So they continue and have affairs and live like separate lives.
Right.
A lot of people like that because they just can't handle getting rid of their money like that, which is what they think.
So they want to be miserable.
Well, they don't think they're miserable. They think they have their wife taking care of their kids, and they think they're doing the right thing by their kids. Okay, because the kids are in the house and they're have this nuclear family, even though the father is screwing around and doing what he wants, but they just don't want to go and just give away their money because it's crazy. There's a lot of people that do that.
Wow.
I've known a lot of people that have done that, and they're usually people that are very, very wealthy. In fact, we have this guy that lives, I won't say where, he's passed away now, but he was a doctor and then became a lawyer. And then he was a lawyer that only prosecuted medical malpractice cases, and they were mostly about birth injury. And he had a lot of money, and we've known him our whole life. And so he had like 4 wives, but then when he got to like the 3rd wife, the only wife he had children with, he did not divorce her, though he left her. He did not divorce her. And he went on with the 4th wife, and this is like the craziest thing. There was a house up here, and in all rights, it belongs to the wife that, that he had the children with. She never liked it, okay? So when he got into the 4th relationship, he was able to clear all this and say, I'm not going to divorce that wife because it would cost me too much to do that. She's fine with it. And I'm going to give this house to this person he never married, which is essentially his fourth wife. Okay, but he never was able to marry her because he didn't get a divorce, right? So he gave her this house. They put on like additions. He spent money. He gave her jewelry. And even this one was telling me before he died, she said, in all actuality, he could die because he was much older than her. And she said, and his wife could come and ask me for all this jewelry and everything because technically, it was just a big thing. But this was such a convoluted relationship that his prior two wives, he set up that this one here that wasn't essentially his fourth wife but not married to was going to take care of them, that she was going to give them like this stipend. Like he took care of everybody, and he would say because he's a really nice guy.
Wow.
So, but he could not get divorced from the third wife. No. First, because it was too much. So he made all these bargains with them, and he had like real estate. I mean, he was wealthy, very, very wealthy. And he did pass away. He got Alzheimer's and passed away a couple of years ago. And the one that he was never married to has all this property and everything, and the third wife never came after it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, that tells Barry. I mean, that explains Jeff's position, but also Barry doesn't want to have to go through all that either because there's a lot of that money tied up in Suzanne's name. So a divorce is,
Yeah, but they would have probably split 50-50, right? Because they were married for so long, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anybody know is Colorado a no-fault state? Do we know?
I don't know, but they said that she put her inheritance into that house from her mother, $500,000 of it. And so, but once
she could have fought, right? She could have fought for a lot of that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, once you commingle it, what happens then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that inheritance money would never go to him, though.
No, it would never if it was his. Yeah, that's not, because that doesn't, you don't even need a prenup. Like, say someone's getting 200, you don't even need a prenup because it doesn't, inheritance doesn't get split up.
So that's what, with her alive, with her married to him, he has access to that. With her dead, he has access to that because he had done all that legal,
Mm-hmm.
finagling. What was it? What is it that he did?
He's construction.
Signing up the rights where he has. It's late. What is the term?
Okay, well, Deb, just one second. Mary Tackett, you say you got timed out for your comments because you're telling us to change the topic and to bring it back to Summer Wells. There's no new updates on Summer Wells, and this is about Barry Morphew. So we are on topic. I'm sorry that it's not the topic you want, but there is no new information on Summer Wells, and this is a Barry Morphew. This is current news that's going on in this case. So if you're not happy with this, then maybe take a break for tonight and come back when we're on something else. That's all. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
Sorry. Yeah, that was distracting. I was reading that too. But Barry had taken the steps to where he had rights and ability, legal-wise, to manage the accounts and to sell the house and do all of these things. I don't know why I can't remember the term that is used because we've done it whenever we go out of town. I leave to my sister. It's a form that says if anything happens to the kids, if she's babysitting them, that she can take them to the doctor. She can, make decisions and choices on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't what that term is called. Does anybody listening know what that's called? I want to say it starts with a P, but I'm just blinking out.
I can't.
Power of attorney.
What is
Power
it?
of attorney.
Power of attorney.
Oh, power
Okay.
of attorney. Is that what you're saying? I didn't know what you were looking for because I was so invested in this thing over here. But yeah.
Remember how we went through all of that as soon as she went missing and
Oh,
started.
that's right. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
So then that's kind of an indicator that there might even be a monetary, financial motive combined, and perhaps, a crime of passion slash, jealousy, rage. You can't, if I can't have you, no one can have type of scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Who knows?
absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to hear what happens tomorrow. Really now, because I think I think they have something pretty big. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I think they want us to think like, oh my gosh, get this out of the way, and then come in with some other stuff that they have. I do. I'm gonna be. So it's 9 in the morning for us. So Colorado's what is it? 2 hours behind us now?
Yeah.
Okay, so 11 my time. Yeah, I'll be glued to the Twitter. I hate that we have to see it on Twitter, but what are you gonna do?
Why did they make this private? Do you know?
I don't know. What do you know? Why, Deb?
Because a bunch of yahoos went on, when they had the Zoom calls, and they were commenting and making comments during the hearings, but then later rebroadcast the hearings, which is just a major, major no.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And I mean, that makes sense, to keep the integrity.
Right.
But it's at the demise of everybody else's right to know what's going on.
Yeah, and you know what though? Everything is going to get more convoluted. Just like you see, like some places reported the gun was to her head, some to his head. You know what I'm saying? It's like a big game of telephone. And then the bike helmet, the discrepancy in that, saying it was 10 meters from the road, where it was 8 point something miles from the bike, and I don't know. It just, and then the other station got that all wrong. They didn't have the two different things. They just said it was less than a mile from the bike instead of less than a mile from the road.
And they had her information in the bike helmet, like all of her information, like name, and who to contact, all that stuff. That was from that. One of the reporters too said that was actually, they found that in the bike helmet, which they found odd. Because who put,
Do we do that, us women? We do that on our children's clothes, but we don't do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like in her helmet, like a piece of paper in her helmet.
Yeah, that's strange. That's strange. Yeah, very strange.
So I'll just suggest to you guys, there was a Twitter account made that I was sent a link to, where this individual has combined all the tweets from the media that's in the courtroom. So as the tweets come in, they all come into that same account, and you see them one by one as they come in, and you're able by then that way to differentiate miscommunication. So someone will say his head, the gun to his head, but then the three others will have it right and say, or vice versa, say to her head, and the other three will have been able to confirm likely that it was his head. But it's just a Twitter page that has a link to all the people who are tweeting, those media people who are in the courtroom. I sent it to Caroline if you want to share it. But I don't know who made it, but it's been really helpful to, you get every tweet from each of them all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can read
Very
it.
comprehensive.
Yeah, I'll check it out and then share it. That's
Okay.
my mom told me. I'm reading something what somebody said, but yeah, I am really looking forward to hearing that tomorrow. I think there's got to be something big, and between that and the interview with that guy, and he said that I think they've got to have something really big against him, because this would not be, waiting a year. There's got to be something way more that they have tying him to this.
How many days do they get, and how many days does the defense get?
It's 4 days total. So
Okay.
I think maybe 2 and 2, or I don't know. I didn't, but it's 4 days total.
Is it one day this week and 2 days next week?
I think it's
Right.
Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, today's this week. I think it's Monday or Tuesday, and then maybe 2 days next week.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, we'll see. But I'm interested to see tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it one day at a time. But appreciate you guys coming on and
Thank you.
talking
Thanks
about
for
it. And
having
I'm glad everybody could talk in a civil way. You know, it's not like it's just my thoughts. It's not like, you know, I think he's innocent or anything. I'm just saying, just based on what was today, I'm like, uh-oh, you know.
They better come up with something better.
Yeah, they better get something in there, you know, good. And I think they probably, I'm sure they do, if you really think about it, because, come on, they have to have, you know, something more than this to tie him to this. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to have pings and stuff like that. But I mean, if this is their second day, if they only get one more day, they better really step up their game. And,
yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll be like really shot. You know. Oh yeah, there it is. But I mean, we'll discuss it again tomorrow. So sorry, Mary. It's probably going to be this again tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll get off here. Have a
I'm
great
going to
night,
go
you
off
guys.
too because I'm falling asleep. I had a big day. Jimmy got out of the hospital, and we've been swimming, and I've swam a lot today, and I'm exhausted. So I want to be up for this thing tomorrow, and then I'll discuss it with you guys later on, but tomorrow if you're around and everybody here. But thanks for coming up, Deb. Good to hear from you. Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you to all the moderators and everybody for being so respectful and everything. That's wonderful. And again, I'm sorry for those that didn't like the topic, but you know, it is what is current right now going on in the case that we're following. So that's what we are discussing. If there was something about Summer Wells that came up that was breaking news, of course we would be discussing it, but that's not the case. So everybody have a wonderful evening. I love you all. Prayers for Mimi, prayers for everyone that needs it. And I'm sorry, Alma, I'm sorry. I'm so tired because I swam so much today and I haven't been swimming a lot this summer. Remember, I've been doing a lot of biking, but not swimming. And I'm exhausted. My arms hurt. Everything. I'm tired. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. And happy birthday to Deborah Van Coverden. Yes, happy birthday. And Alyssa, we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm just falling asleep, and I would not be a good person to talk to right now. But I do want to hear about your life. Okay, love you. Okay, bye. Bye, everybody. God bless.